and your sports network.
Yeah, I've been closer to Jesus before, so can you help me out? Oh, can you help me out? Am I on my own? Am I on my own? Or can you help me out? Am I on my own? Am I on my own? Or can you help me out? Can you help me out? I've been scared to look in my soul. I've been afraid I would follow alone. Yeah, afraid of the things I've been told.
Welcome into a Thursday edition of Running Point on ysnlive.com. Ron Potesta flying solo today. In the fall. Anthony's with me on Mondays and Wednesdays, Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Fridays during high school football season. Yours truly rides solo. The MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning Hotline is open for business. 330-886-0813. That's 330-886-0813. Coming up on the program today, we will hear from the head football coach of the South Range Raiders, Dan Yeagley. His team coming off an impressive victory over Poland in Week 1. They will go to Girard on Friday night to take on the Indians. One of the 5 or 6 best games in the Week 2 docket, for my money. And we could still have that conversation if you want to throw down the 5 or 6 best games of the Week 2 high school football season. We can certainly do that. But the head football coach at South Range, Dan Yeagley, will be joining the program at about 12:20. We're efforting Paul Julia over in Leetonia. His team coming off a very impressive victory over Southern as they get ready for a Saturday night showdown in Campbell against Valley Christian. But coming up at 2:40 today, we will hear from the head football coach of the LeBray Vikings, John Armini. LeBray coming off a victory over Mickey Sikura's Camel Red Devils. And, LeBray has a meeting with Brookfield. Brookfield got a win in week number 1 as well. Brookfield is the defending, what are they now? The gray tier of the Mahoning Valley Athletic Conference. They used to be the All-American Conference Turquoise Division or Mauve Division, perhaps a light peach division. They had all kinds of colors. Reminded me of Lucky Charms cereal. That was the All-American Football Conference. But now they're the Mahoning Valley Athletic Conference gray tier. Of course, the Mahoning Valley Athletic Conference wants to have a scarlet tier, a gray tier. Yeah, something to do with Ohio State. And speaking of, either tomorrow or Saturday, from what I've been told, the Big Ten presidents are going to do a revote to determine whether they're going to have a college football season. Now, the unofficial tally was 12-2 in favor of no football. And then word came out, no, Ohio State actually was one of those, so you got to put them on because Nebraska and Iowa were the 2 originally. And then people said, no, Ohio State was part of this. It's 11-3. Okay. 11-3, 12-2. It was a rout. It was a rout. And, okay, they're going to be revoting. Are you really going to change the minds of 5 teams? Because that's what you're going to need. You're going to need to get 8 out of 14. So are you really going to change the minds of 5 other teams in the Big Ten in order for you to get going? And by the way, this is not the athletic directors. This isn't the sports people. This is the presidents of the colleges. These are the guys that are in charge of the whole kit and caboodle. They're not in charge of the sports. They're in charge of the entire college. So the idea that 5 presidents are going to suddenly change their mind based on Ohio State saying, "Yeah, we need to play football. We're the dominant dog in this conference, and we need to play football." And President Trump saying, "You guys need to play football." I don't know. I honestly don't know if you're going to get 5 presidents from the Big Ten to suddenly change their mind. I don't know. But at some point today, or I'm sorry, tomorrow or Saturday, the Big Ten's supposed to do a revote, and it will be curious. I'll be somewhat curious because the last time they voted, it was 11 down, 3 up, and you need to have 8 up in order to play football in the Big Ten. So 5 presidents have to change their mind, and I'm just not sure that the Big Ten is going to be playing football. I really just don't know about this. Even though some people are saying, well, it's a revote, this is going to be a slam dunk. And this ain't no slam dunk. This isn't a slam dunk. So we could talk a little bit about that. Tom Seaver, Hall of Fame pitcher, he was perhaps the most important member of the New York Mets. He was certainly the dominant figure of Mets baseball in the 60s and 70s up until the time he was traded to the Cincinnati Reds. Tom Seaver passed away yesterday. He had been suffering from dementia. And I'm someone that knows all too well about that horrible, horrible disease. My grandmother, God rest her soul, she had it. And it was tough. It was really tough. And what's really tough about it is when you go to the person that you've looked up to your whole life and they look at you like they don't know you, that's kind of a tough pill to swallow. And I'm sure that Seaver's family had to go through that because that's probably the worst part of dealing with someone who has dementia or Alzheimer's disease. They simply don't know you, and that's heartbreaking. I bring up Tom Seaver because, again, I'm a huge baseball fan. I'm a child of the 70s, an infant of the 60s. I grew up watching the game of baseball. My first year of remembering and following baseball intently was 1971. So it was 2 years removed from the Mets winning the World Series title. I'm sure that I watched the World Series. It was my kindergarten year at Robin Wood Lane Elementary School in Boardman. I lived on Indianola Road, hop, skip, and a jump from the school. I'm sure that I watched the World Series. I'm sure that Miss Tavalerio, our kindergarten teacher, probably had a TV while we were doing our stuff on our mats as kindergartners. And I'm sure that I watched it at school or I watched it when I came home from school, but I don't remember much of it. But I do remember the New York Mets run in the early 70s, and I do remember watching Seaver pitch, both with the Mets, then with the Reds, and then with the White Sox. He is one of the 5 or 6 best pitchers I have ever seen. And when I saw that he passed away, it got me to thinking, if I were to put together a list of the best pitchers that I've seen, and again, if I'm going back to 1971, that's about 50 years worth of baseball. If you include 71, it is 50 years of baseball. So if I'm doing a half a century worth of baseball and I can narrow it down to the best 5 right-handed pitchers that I've ever seen, Seaver's on this list. By the way, the list would include Tom Seaver, Bob Gibson, Pedro Martinez, Greg Maddux, Roger Clemens. And I don't like putting Clemens on that list because I don't like Roger Clemens. He's a pain in the ass. He's an arrogant prick. and just don't like him. But he's on the list. Unlike certain people or some people in the sports media, I can separate the guy being an arrogant prick from the guy being an unbelievably great player, and you have to give him his due. So if I'm looking at the 5 best right-handed pitchers I've ever seen, that's the 5 in no particular order. Bob Gibson, Tom Seaver, Pedro Martinez, Greg Maddux, and Roger Clemens are the 5 best right-handers I've ever seen. And Seaver is pretty damn close to the top of that list. He and Gibson are pretty close. And actually, I can make an argument that I can throw Clemens out and put Jim Palmer in because Palmer was unbelievable. He was as good as it gets too. So it's either way, one of those guys, Palmer or Clemens, would get knocked out of this. And maybe I should put Palmer up because he did it naturally, where Clemens had to use steroids toward the end of his career. So I'll flip it and have Clemens at 6 because he did steroids the second half of his career. So I'll gladly put Palmer in the top 5, but. Can you imagine that rotation? Yeah, we don't need any left-handers. No, hell no. I'm going to throw 3 guys right off the top of the bat. One guy that would hit his own mother if it meant winning or losing, and Bob Gibson. A second guy who is every bit the competitor Gibson was, and every bit the headhunter that Gibson occasionally was. And oh, by the way, he had an ERA below 2 in the friggin' steroid era. Pedro Martinez might be the best right-handed pitcher I've ever seen. Oh my God. And the kicker in all of this, if you're an Indians fan, go to the 1997 World Series when the Indians were painfully close to that World Series win over the Florida Marlins, now the Miami Marlins. And Mesa blows the save in the 9th inning, okay, and they wind up losing in extra innings. Prior to the trade deadline, Pedro Martinez was available. And John Hart, the Indians GM at the time, said no to Jarrett Wright and Bartolo Colon for Pedro Martinez. Now, looking back on this, you make this deal, and you make this deal twice a day, 5 times on a Sunday, and you just sit back and smile because Pedro Martinez is a Hall of Famer. Bartolo Colon was a very nice pitcher. He's not going into the Hall of Fame, and Jarrett Wright turned out to be a injury-shortened career. So, obviously, looking back on it, the armchair quarterbacks can have a field day. But it was the comment that was allegedly said where John Hart allegedly said, well, Pedro Martinez, he isn't worth my 2 young kids. Yeah, okay. You imagine Martinez in Cleveland. By the way, in 99, it was Pedro Martinez that jammed it up Cleveland's ass in the ALDS by doing what he does best. It just, look, some people didn't like Pedro because he was a hothead and he went up and in and was very intimidating on the mound with his wanting to throw inside type of presence. He's a modern-day Bob Gibson. If y'all didn't see Bob Gibson pitch, he was Pedro Martinez on steroids. Not really, but he was even more intense than Pedro was. But Tom Seaver, and again, we bring this up because Tom Seaver passed away last night. Tom Seaver, yeah, he threw inside. He wasn't a headhunter per se. He was just a damn good pitcher. Just from a technical standpoint. The way he threw the ball, the way his motion was, he got so low when his release that in his push-off knee, and he's right-handed, so the right knee would be all kinds of dirt on it. And there would be all kinds of dirt on it because that's how low Seaver got when he was going through his motion. The guy was just impeccable on the mound. He was an incredibly good pitcher, and just really smart and educated about the game of baseball, and turned out to be one of the better color commentaries, color commentator. Now, unfortunately, it was, we didn't see enough of Tom Seaver, which is a damn shame because, man, the guy was just filled with knowledge. But I'll definitely put him among the top 5 that I have seen all time as far as right-handed pitchers. And again, I've followed the game this is my 50th year of following baseball. And I got a 5-man rotation of right-handed pitchers of Seaver, Gibson, Pedro Martinez, Greg Maddux, and Jim Palmer. Yeah, I don't think you're going to beat that. I don't think as good as the Indians' starting rotation is, it doesn't hold a candle to those 5 guys. Trust me on that one. All right, 330-886-0813. The MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning hotline open. By the way, speaking of the Indians, they won again last night. Tristan McKenzie was dominant for 6 innings. And again, I have said this, and this is nothing new. If you've heard me, whether it's here on Running Point or in a previous life when I was doing sports rap, and by the way, was it yesterday? On this date, yesterday back in 2014, we premiered sports rap. So I've been back and on the air for a little over 6 years, give or take. A month or so hiatus. I've been on the air since 2014 doing this show, whether it be at iHearts or here at YSN. And I have said this, and I'll continue to say this. Rookie pitchers, rookie hitters, they're always going to get the advantage early on because nobody has a book on them. Nobody has the tendencies, and nobody has the scouting report in place for the rookie hitter or the rookie pitcher. McKenzie right now is enjoying that part of his career. Pretty soon, the opposing hitters are going to get a scouting report on him, and then they are going to adjust. That's when Tristan McKenzie is going to have to adjust. And I have no doubt that McKenzie will adjust. I have said this, and I will continue to say this. Tristan McKenzie is, on paper, the best pitcher in the Indians organization. The best. He's better than Bieber. He's better than Carrasco. He is the best pitcher in this organization. Potentially. He has the highest ceiling of any pitcher in this organization. And hopefully, knock on wood, pray to the baseball god, small g, McKenzie stays healthy, because if he does, kids, you are looking at a great, dominant pitcher. And how the Indians continue to get these kind of guys, it's absolutely amazing. So, yes, the Indians can trade away Trevor Bauer, Mike Clevenger, Corey Kluber, and oh, by the way, they have the best rotation in the American League. And, oh, by the way, Part 2, the sequel, they're in first place. And, oh, by the way, Part 3, the trilogy, they're scoring runs. The Indians once again scored over 4 runs. And, well, that makes them now, 17-2? 16-2? When they score 4 or more runs. They score 4 or more runs consistently. This team's going to the World Series. Because they don't have a weak spot in their pitching. Not one. And that makes me somewhat excited, even though I promised myself it's a 60-game season. I'm not really into this baseball season. Bullshit, I am. 330-886-0813. Dan Yeagley, South Range head football coach, joining me in a bit. Stick around. The MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning Hotline will have the head coach of the South Range Raiders, Dan Yeagley, on. That's coming up after this Thursday edition of Running Points on ysnlive.com.
21 News.
Let's get right to our top story tonight.
More experienced reporters.
A new Wilmington restaurant.
GM Lordstown.
Telling more local stories.
We'll look at efforts
Boy is recovering from a broken
around our valley.
Community in Niles.
We are here in Youngstown, right up.
Because you expect
It's important for everyone.
No place like home.
more local news.
In Mercer County Court.
21 News is our valley's #1 local news.
Welcome home to a home made homier with Baird Brothers Fine Hardwoods. Inspiration starts at BairdBrothers.com and is turned into reality when high-quality hardwoods are delivered right to your home. Baird Brothers has the latest design trends, shiplap and skinny lap interior siding, antique oak rustic flooring, and, well, you'll find them all at BairdBrothers.com. Ordered easily, delivered conveniently, enjoyed comfortably. BairdBrothers.com.
Attention football fans, order Coca's Pizza tailgate package for only $54.99. You'll receive 24 slices of our delicious cheese pizza, 20 jumbo wings, and 2 of our famous foot-long pepperoni rolls. Coca's Pizza, we serve it hot.
Hi, this is Tommy Clem, owner of WRS Insurance Solutions.
WRS Insurance Solutions is a local independent agency that specializes in life, Medicare, long-term care, and disability products. Call us at 330-953-3722 or visit us at wrsinsuranceSolutions.com to learn more.
Good luck to all the student athletes in the Valley.
Your Armstrong services are more important than ever. There are more and more connected devices in the home these days. To get the most out of your experience, you need a network that is always getting better. You deserve superior performance, and that's what Armstrong offers every day. Whether you're working from home, enjoying your favorite content together, or simply catching up while apart, count on Armstrong to keep you connected to what matters most.
Welcome back to a Thursday edition of Running Points on ysnlive.com. Ron Potesta with you. Last week, we kicked off the high school football season. Plenty of surprises last week, including a upset at South Range High School. And, well, I mean, Coach Yeagley's not going to think it was an upset, but a lot of people did. And South Range knocking off the Poland Bulldogs. And let's catch up now with the head football coach of the South Range Raiders, Dan Yeagley. Yeags, I'm assuming that you don't think that was an upset on Friday night.
Well, you know what? I just think it was a great win. I mean, you know what? Our kids, we started talking about Springfield come June 1st because that's who we thought we were going to be playing if we had a season. And then all of a sudden, a couple weeks into it, they say, all league play, and then they drew the league, and we got Poland first. And so then it started talking about Poland. Our kids believe. They believe in each other. They believe in the team. They believe in the process. And, it's scary playing a team like Poland, how good they are and how good they've been. And our kids fought hard and to the very end and didn't get distracted by all the delays and rain. And it was one heck of a ball game. It would have been a nice one to watch.
No doubt. You guys were 7-3 last year in the regular season, and one of those losses was to Poland, in Poland, 27-7. How satisfying was that to not only see your guys win this game against Poland, but if you look ahead, and I know coaches don't like to do this, losing by 20 last year, you won this year. Does that, without wanting to look ahead, but you can't help but doing it, does that make you realize that your team could be really, really special this year?
Well, Ron, we know our team's very special this year. I mean, it's a great group of kids, and you got the. I've been around for a long time, so you circle those losses, like all the coaches say. But you start talking to them in the winter about how important it is to be ready for those games. And that's why we were talking about Springfield in June, and that's why we were talking about Poland later, because that's an important game. You got to circle those on your calendar saying this is an important game. If if we want to be able to be competitive in the NE8, guess what? They're the elite group. They won it last year, so we had to go after them with everything we had.
You know, and it doesn't get much easier for you guys. The Girard Indians, who got a good victory after a sloppy start, but sloppy in the rain, which everyone pretty much played sloppy when it was pouring down rain. Girard put up 35 points in the second half. They get the victory over Lakeview. You guys will go to them at beautiful Arrowhead Stadium up in Girard. That's a good test, and it seems like every single week is going to be a test for you guys. You got Niles on the schedule, at Jefferson, Struthers at home, at Hubbard. The schedule is a knockout of a schedule this year, Coach.
Oh, it's brutal, but you know what? That's the NE8. I mean, the NE8's a great conference. It's filled with great coaches and great teams and great traditions and programs, and you know, we're excited to be part of it. I mean, we really are, and we know that if we do well in the NE8, that you know we're going to be battle tested and ready for the playoffs. And you know, just like last year, beating the Bel Air team in the first round, because guess what? The NE8 prepared us for that. And you know, Girard is tough, very tough. I mean, Coach Pearson does a phenomenal job. Look at what they've done the last 4 years with their state run and everything else. And Girard does what Girard does. I mean, he runs a program. They do what they do. They don't worry about anybody else, and they execute very well. And they are scary. Their skill kids are really scary.
You know, a few years ago when you guys went to the state semifinals, you did that as an independent, and I'm sure you recall many conversations that we've had in the past. We've known each other for God knows how long, but that year I kept saying that this independent schedule, and it was a meat grinder schedule from start to finish for you guys, but it wasn't one of those schedules that would completely destroy your team. You were testing your team on a week-in, week-out basis with very few breathers. And it got me to thinking, this 6-game emergency schedule that everyone has, and I'm looking at this schedule, it's very similar to the schedule that you guys had when you were an independent. Very, very few, let's take a breather. As a matter of fact, I can only think of one, with all due respect to Jefferson, on September the 18th, but even that game is up there. So you guys are going to have to play some really good football for 6 weeks. And it just dawns on me that, man, come playoff time in D5, you guys are going to be ready to take on all comers, because that schedule is going to prepare you for that.
Oh, I agree 100%, Ron. That's what the league does, and that's one of the reasons why we got into it. And you talked about our independent schedule. Those couple of years that we were in independent, and you know, we try to prepare our kids. Guess what? There is no time off. You can't take breaks. Trying to prepare them more mentally than physically. I mean, physically, yeah, guess what? You got to play 4 quarters, and they can adjust to that, and we can train them for that. But mentally is the tough one. And, you know, another thing that people didn't realize, but when we were playing that independent schedule, our JVs and freshmen and our underclassmen were playing the NE8 teams. We were playing the Girards and the Polands and everybody else. So they were getting used to those teams and understanding how hard it was to play that caliber of football week in and week out. And like I said, hats off to the kids and my coaches, because they did a great job. The kids played hard and are playing hard last year and this year, and my coaches are doing a tremendous job preparing them week in and week out.
Dan, how satisfying was it for you, for your defensive line, to not only hold their own against the incredibly large Poland offensive line, but at times able to penetrate that line and slow down, if not stop, their running game?
It was very satisfying. My goodness, D-line, I mean, that's just part of it. I mean, we had people filling in, and we were playing a bunch of kids, trying to keep kids fresh for the fourth quarter, because we knew it was going to be a meat grinder of a game, and especially when they get in their double tights and start pounding at you with those big linemen and big backs. And our linebackers did a great job filling the seams, and we had to play as a unit. I mean, the whole defense. And if you go back, even look, our secondary was coming in and making tackles for like a 1-yard gain and everything else. They did their job, and again, hats off to my coaches for getting them ready to play like that, because like I said, Coach Williams and the Poland Bulldogs are a phenomenal team, and we were able to, control a little bit of the line of scrimmage at times and, make up differences when we couldn't. So very, very proud of them.
When this interview started, you made mention that you guys, up until I want to say April or May, everyone was all jacked up, ready to take on the Springfield Tigers. Yeah, that's been a staple the last few years. Springfield, the first game on the schedule, and year in, year out for the last few years, that's been the marquee matchup in week number 1. You don't get to play Springfield in the regular season, and I'm sure that you guys would love to be able to not have Springfield on the schedule this year, because that means that you're making a very, very deep playoff run. But if for some strange reason South Range and Springfield season comes to an end prior to the end of high school football, have you guys made arrangements to play a game against each other?
We have not talked about that. I mean, I know some schools have gone ahead and scheduled beyond the playoffs, but, we haven't thought that far ahead yet. I mean, we're worried about these conference games right now, and we got to take care of them. And, knowing that everybody's in the playoffs, and we'll see how that goes. And, we love playing Springfield. Springfield's a great rivalry game, and, oh, my goodness, they're loaded again this year like they were last year, and we'd love to play them. I mean, we schedule our non-league to prepare us for the league play, and that's crucial. That's why you got a Springfield, you got a Crestview, and you got a Canton Central Catholic on the schedule to prepare you for the Polands and the Gerards and everything else. And I've talked to Sean many times during the pandemic thing, and was even hoping maybe for a scrimmage with them, but that just didn't work out. And it's so important that we keep that rivalry going, and looking forward to the games in the future. But after the playoffs, depending on how we do, and we'll figure out a schedule after that. But, we got to worry about, first things first, we got to worry about Gerard. That's the important thing right now.
Yeah, you're going to be worried about a lot of teams on your schedule, Coach. That is for certain. A lot of naysayers when you guys joined the NE8, there were a lot of naysayers saying, what the hell is South Range doing on this or in this league? They're D5. All of these teams are D4, and some of them are D3. They're going to get annihilated. And I'm sure you heard some of those people. It's good to see that you guys came into this league and not only held your own. You guys have done an amazing job of knocking off some really, really good teams, and you don't hear those naysayers anymore.
Well, it happens. I mean, whenever you change leagues, and we've changed leagues a couple times, the ICL, the ITCL, whatever, and everything else that, we've changed leagues, and everybody wonders what's going to happen and this and that. Well, this was a good move for us, and we have to trust the program. I mean, you really do, and it wasn't just about football; it's about all sports, and I think it was the best move for South Range to join the NE8. Yes, we do have to compete week in and week out, and it's a tough schedule. And like I said, I really want to thank the NE8 for accepting us and helping me out, because I'm the new guy on the block, even though I'm the old guy, I guess. But I'm the new guy on the block. But they've helped me out tremendously and been very supportive of our program. And it is good for us, and it's good for the league. And it's fun week in and week out being able to battle like this, because like you said, you love playoffs. Well, this is a playoff game every single week in this league.
Okay, you made mention that you're the old guy, and I'm using air quotes because you're not old, Coach. All right.
Okay, just because we're about the same age.
Yeah, exactly. Because if you're old, I'm old, and I'm not old. Okay. I mean, I'm worn down, but I'm not old. You're in your 25th year as the head football coach. What have you learned in the last 25 years that you would want to sit down with a rookie coach or someone that's relatively new in high school football? What are some of the lessons that you've learned in the past 25 years?
Well, I've learned from great coaches. I mean, I've been surrounded by great coaches, and I've played under Coach McNay, Coach Owen, Coach McClellan, Coach Ferrani. I mean, those were the head coaches before me, and I've learned a lot from them about South Range football. You know, having graduated from there, you learn a lot. I would tell people, you know, you got it's about consistency. Just be consistent with the kids and trust in them, and you know, you got to love your players, and I love them to death, and they know that, and I'm going to fight for them, and they're going to fight for me, and don't always be looking for that other job. I mean, my goodness, I know coaches sometimes say, "Oh, I'm going to take this job to look for the next one." Guess what? There's no job more important than the one you have right now, and that's South Range for me, and that's going to be South Range. That's the way it is, because it's a great place to be, and I've been spoiled rotten here with great players and great coaches and a great administration that's very supportive, and a great community. You know, my goodness, the community's been phenomenal in their support of South Range football, and that's you know, just be consistent and love where you're at, because you never know what's going to happen, because things get crazy in the game of football.
You love South Range, and the community loves you back, Coach. I know that for a fact. It's always a pleasure. Thanks for coming on, and look forward to catching the result of your guys' game against Girard.
Thank you, Ron, and thank you so much for supporting South Range football. Really appreciate it. You and YSN are awesome.
Appreciate it, sir. Dan Yeagley, he is the head football coach of the South Range Raiders. The Raiders taking on the Girard Indians week 2. My God, this schedule. Wow. Poland week 1, they got a victory there at Girard. Then they're home to Niles, at Jefferson, home to Struthers, and at Hubbard. Yeah, the NE8. Look, this is why we say it is one of, if not the best conference in this entire area as far as competition goes. There's some really good conferences, and we're blessed in this area. I've said it. We have some competitive conferences in this area, but the NE8, man, that is a damn good conference. Woof. All right, 330-886. 0813 MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning hotline is open. We'll take your calls and talk some more high school and sports. Anything you want to talk about, give me a shout on the MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning hotline, 330-886-0813. It's a Thursday edition of Running Point on ysnlive.com.
Hello, I'm Greg Burbick with G. Burbick Farms. For the last 100 years, my family has farmed in the Columbiana and Mahoning counties. I began raising cattle in 1996 with the goal of providing a better product for you and your family on the dinner table. Our grass-fed and grain-supplemented Black Angus beef are raised with no hormones, steroids, or antibiotics. We're known for our hometown-friendly service and incredible tasting products. We're locally owned and have customers across the tri-state area. Our products go from our farm to your family. Stop by our farm on New Buffalo Road or visit us on the web at gburbickfarms.com. Don't forget to like us on Facebook. G. Burbick Farms, it just tastes better.
To help you with your Medicare needs.
Myers Family Insurance looks forward to helping you now for years to come. So call our family today and remind them how cute we are.
Myers Family Insurance continues to be the area's resource for all your Medicare and retirement needs. Call today, 330-286-3044.
Welcome back to a Thursday edition of Running Points on ysnlive.com. Ron Potesta with you. MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning hotline is open. 330-886-0813. That's 330-886-0813. Kudos to Major League Baseball for allowing the Pirates to do something really special. On September the 9th, when the Pirates host the Chicago White Sox, all of the Pirate players are going to be wearing the number 21 to honor Roberto Clemente. As the Pirates, and honestly, I think this is something that Major League Baseball really should consider. They universally retired Jackie Robinson's number, 42. Universally retired based on the fact that Jackie Robinson was the first black player or player of color, if you will, to play the modern day of baseball. Now, there were some black or Latino players that played in the late 1800s, but when Major League Baseball, at the turn of the 20th century, the person of color was not allowed to play Major League Baseball. It was a sport that was, well, it was all white, which was absurdly stupid. And one of the biggest stains on the game, probably the greatest stain on the game, and it's because we the historians and we the baseball fans never got an opportunity to hear the stories of a Satchel Paige in his prime, though he did wind up playing Major League Baseball very late in his career. So we didn't get to see the best of Satchel Paige. Never got a chance to see Josh Gibson play. Never got a chance to see Oscar Charleston play. Oscar Charleston, excuse me. Never got an opportunity to see Cole Papa Bell play. Never got an opportunity to see many of the other Negro League players. And damn shame, because, again, baseball would have been, it would have been a much better landscape talent-wise. And plus, I don't think Babe Ruth hit 714 home runs in his career. And I know that, some people might not think about this, but Babe Ruth hit 714 home runs against a bunch of white guys. He didn't play against the best of the best. It's not his fault. It's just reality. Everyone up until 1947 did not play against the best of the best. They played against the best white people, but they didn't play against the best of the best. And when Jackie Robinson broke the color barrier that had been broken in the 19th century, but then it was closed, and then Jackie Robinson broke it again in 1947, and then a flood of black players and Latino players came through, and now we're seeing the best of the best of the best in Major League Baseball instead of the best white people. It's now a game that is great. It is. Now, unfortunately, there are some marketing issues, but neither here nor there. And so that's why Robinson's number is universally retired, because he broke the color barrier. Major League Baseball needs to retire universally Roberto Clemente's number. Roberto Clemente is to Latin America what Jackie Robinson is to Black America. Roberto Clemente was the most prominent Latin American baseball player. And his humanitarian and stuff that he did off the field, it screams for Major League Baseball to universally retire number 21. It just screams of that. And one of the many things that Major League Baseball has just dropped the ball on, and it's one of the first things that if I were ever a commissioner of Major League Baseball, that's one of the first things that I would do, is to say, look, we universally retired number 42, rightfully so. Jackie Robinson broke the color barrier. We're going to universally retire number 21 to honor those that live in Latin America. And Latin America is Puerto Rico. Latin America is the Dominican Republic, Mexico, Venezuela, Nicaragua, Colombia. The sector of of Central America and the northern tip of South America, where Spanish descent people live. Hispanic, Latin America. It's a hotbed of baseball. Mexico is a hotbed of baseball. So is Puerto Rico. So is the Dominican Republic. So is Venezuela. In Nicaragua, Colombia, they have produced some really good baseball players as well. Baseball is king in those countries, and you look at the respect and just Clemente's revered. Even today, 48 years this December 31st, after he was tragically killed in a plane crash while he was trying to bring humanitarian aid to Nicaragua, who had an earthquake a few days earlier. He is so revered to everyone in Latin America. On the island of Puerto Rico, he's a god, small g, but he is a god in Puerto Rico. He's just, to this day, he's revered. Major League Baseball really needs to universally retire number 21. And, the Pirates are going to be wearing number 21. All of the Bucco players will wear number 21 in honor and in memory of Roberto Clemente when the Pirates host the Chicago White Sox on September the 9th at PNC Park. That's going to be great. It's going to be an absolutely wonderful, wonderful time. I did want to make mention, and I should have a couple of days ago, because a couple of days ago, September the 1st, it was the anniversary of one of the greatest things that you would see in Major League Baseball, as we were talking about how Jackie Robinson broke the color barrier in 1947. In 1971, September 1st, 1971, 49 years ago, the Pittsburgh Pirates did something that no other team in Major League Baseball had ever done. And it was the first time that anyone had seen a lineup filled exclusively with black players and Latin American players. Here is the lineup for the Pirates on September the 1st, 1971. Scoop Oliver was at first base. Rennie Stennett, who is a native of Panama, yet another Latin American country, he was at second base. Jackie Hernandez, who left this world, I want to say about a year ago, he was the shortstop. David Cash played third base. The outfield left to right, Willie Stargell, Gene Clines, Roberto Clemente. Manny Sanguillen behind the plate, Doc Ellis, minus the LSD. Doc Ellis on the hill. And this was 49 years ago, September 1st, 1971. And when the game first started, and I remember John Parado telling this story. He and I are about the same age, so we're both 7-year-old kids, and it went right over over my head. I was a 7-year-old kid. We really wasn't invested in black, white. I just liked watching baseball. And truth be told, there were some people in the game, covering the game, that really didn't think too much about it until someone said, wait a second. Every single player on that field is either black or Latin American. This is pretty cool. And then obviously they figured out that Pirates organization was the first Major League Baseball team to field an all-black or Latin American team lineup, I should say. And that happened 49 years ago on September the 1st. And that is something that, to this day, Major League Baseball is, that was what they were looking for when Jackie Robinson broke the color barrier. And it's good to see that when the Pirates host the White Sox at PNC on September the 9th, all of the Pirate players will be wearing number 21 in honor of Roberto Clemente. And hopefully, fingers crossed, Rob Manfred, who doesn't make very many wise decisions, hopefully this will be a no-brainer for him. Major League Baseball needs to retire number 21 universally. They just do. Roberto Clemente is to Latin America what Jackie Robinson is to Black America. A role model, someone who opened a whole lot of doors for the community, and his number deserves to be retired around baseball because he was an unbelievably giving person. And like Jackie Robinson, a great player on the field, an even greater player off the field. 330-886-0813. The MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning Hotline is open. Coming up at the top of the hour, we will hear from the head football coach at my alma mater, Leetonia High School. Paul Julia and the Bears get a 14-13 victory over Southern. The schedule, not much better. They take on a Valley Christian team that knocked off East Palestine in week number 1. That'll be a Saturday night affair from Camel High School. Should be a great ball game, and we'll catch up with the head coach of the Leetonia Bears, Paul Julia, in just a bit. We can continue the conversation. The high school football games that you are most looking forward to see. Also, yesterday, Tom Seaver passing away from dementia. I made mention, this is my 50th year of watching baseball, and I will tell you without any hesitation, the 5 or 6 best right-handed pitchers that I've ever seen. I'm going to have to throw out 6 because I did put Clemens on this list, but I have to include Jim Palmer, so I got to go 6. So my 6, or the 6 greatest right-handed pitchers that I've seen in 50 years of watching Major League Baseball, in no particular order: Bob Gibson, Tom Seaver, Pedro Martinez, Greg Maddux, Jim Palmer, and Roger Clemens. And if I were to put some left-handers out there, Kershaw, Carlton, Glavine, Unit, those are probably the 4 best pitchers. So I'll throw my top 10, and those are the 4 left-handers. My top 10 starters in 50 years of watching baseball. That would be my top 10 in starters. And good luck trying to put that one together. And good luck trying to if you went top 5 against bottom 5. I think you would probably have a damn good rotation with 6 through 10, as well as 1 through 5. But yeah, my top 10. Seaver's definitely on that list. Just from a technical standpoint, the form that Tom Seaver had throwing the ball, unbelievable. And he got down so low when he threw the ball that his push-off leg, his right leg, because he's right-handed, his push-off leg, the knee would consistently touch the dirt. So when he was done pitching, the knee area of his pants would be filled with dirt, because that's how low Seaver got when he threw the ball. That's how low his release point was when he threw the ball, and he threw ungodly hard. His stuff was electric, and he had movement. He had everything. Tom Seaver, arguably, I'm not gonna say he was the best, but he's definitely in my top 10. But you can argue Tom Seaver's the greatest right-handed pitcher in the last 50 years. You can most definitely argue that. And up until a few years ago, when Jeter was unanimously not Jeter, Mariano Rivera was unanimously put into the Hall of Fame. Tom Seaver had held the record. I think it was 98.6% or some crazy number like that. He had previously held the record for the highest percentage of a Hall of Fame vote. He and then Griffey broke it, and now Mariano Rivera is the only guy that is 100%. And that's just a separate argument. How the hell do you not vote? Yeah, Babe Ruth is up for the Hall of Fame. He's only the greatest all-around baseball player to ever play this game, and I say that because you have to throw in his pitching. He would have been a Hall of Fame pitcher without ever being an everyday player. Babe Ruth would have been a Hall of Fame pitcher. I mean, you got to understand, Babe Ruth had went up against Walter Johnson, who at the time was the greatest right-hander in the history of the game. Babe Ruth was 8-2 against Walter Johnson. That's an unbelievably talented pitcher, but he also was a pretty damn good hitter too. But if you put his career, he's the best player to ever play this game because he was not only a great everyday player, he was also a great pitcher when called upon. How Babe Ruth was not unanimously put into the Hall of Fame is just an absolute disgrace. How Joe DiMaggio is not a unanimous Hall of Famer. You got to be kidding me. There's a lot of guys. There's an endless list. How is Roberto Clemente not a unanimous Hall of Famer? Greatest humanitarian, arguably, in the history of baseball, off the field. Oh, by the way, 3,000 career hits, the best defensive right fielder with the greatest arm in right field of all time, not even close, by the way. Oh, yeah, we're not going to, a couple of jabronis are going to vote no. That's what pisses me off about the Hall of Fame voting. Unfortunately, there are some guys that are going to sit back and know, well, it's all about me. Oh, this guy stiffed me for an interview. Well, let me put my let me get my final jab into him by not putting him on the Hall by not putting him in to the Hall of Fame. That's not about you, dude. Not about you. And this is why I wish there were more sports members of the media, more members of the media that cover sports for a living. I wish that they could check their damn ego at the door, and it's not about you. If somebody stiffed you for an interview, who the hell cares? Who cares? Prince Fielder once stiffed me for an interview in AA ball. Prince Fielder was a damn good baseball player. Am I going to sit back and go, well, I don't like this guy because he once stiffed me? No. Who cares if the guy stiffed you or if you didn't get along with this guy? It's not about you. It's about the player. Separate the two. There's not enough people in the sports media that don't understand that you and your tastes or whatever, it's a completely separate entity. If the guy puts up ridiculous numbers and is deserving of the Hall of Fame based on his ridiculous numbers, vote him in and check your ego at the damn door. 330-886-0813. Paul Julia is coming up. We will talk Bears football with the head football coach of the Leetonia Bears. Stick around. More of Running Point on this gloomy and rainy Thursday in the Mahoning Valley. Back in a bit.
It's storm season.
I think we're under the gun for some heavy storms over the next couple of hours.
And Storm Tracker 21 is ready.
This is probably the one we're keeping a closer eye on.
On air.
And locally, we're going to have a lot of eyes on our area.
Online.
All right, let's talk high-risk futurecast and the timing of this weather.
On social media and on our app.
Rain will come and go tomorrow. There'll be some dry intervals.
Stay ready with Storm Tracker 21.
The severe weather threat now through around sunset this evening.
Hi, I'm Colin Chupa. And I'm Kelsey Clem from K-Squared Marketing. Our boutique marketing firm specializes in media planning and buying, public relations, event marketing strategies, and strategic sponsorships. We can integrate our services with your existing game plan, or we can be your entire marketing team. Your goals, our game plan. Let's win together. Call K-Squared Marketing at 330-623-2730 or visit ksquared.marketing to learn more.
Hi everyone, this is DJ Yoakley with Your Sports Network. We appreciate your support of YSN and welcome you to the YSN family. Our broadcast streams are brought to you live at no cost to you by sponsors that are local to this community. Without the vision and generosity of our sponsors and partners, we would not be able to bring this game to you today. So please support the great businesses and leaders that are making this game possible. And if you're a business in need of great advertising and sponsorship opportunities, feel free to head over to our site for more information on the right fit for you. We are local, we are loyal, and we are live. We are YSN.
Ah, the details. Baird Brothers Fine Hardwoods is one fine ride. Perfect cornering, superb handling, sporty and stylish, power to spare, plus awesome mileage. Yeah, jaw-droppingly beautiful lines and well appointed with luxurious trim. Put more oomph in your life and start beholding the molding. Find your home's fine hardwood at BairdBrothers.com.
Welcome back to a Thursday edition of Running Point on YSNLive.com. Ron Potesta with you. 330-886-0813. The MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning Hotline is open as we go to the MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning Hotline and find the head football coach of the Leetonia Bears, Mr. Paul Julia. Coach Julia, how are you today, sir?
Well, I'm doing well. We're working hard. My wife's got me working hard. We're in the middle of moving, so we're moving to a different house in in the area. So we're excited about that. And hey, Ron, I'm tired from my wife's a slave driver.
Listen, I this is why I'm probably not married. I got tired of the honey-do list, and that and the fact that my wife got tired of looking at my ugly mug. But that's neither here nor there.
Well, Ron, that's not true at all.
Hey, great win on Saturday night, and it was supposed to be a Friday. Mother Nature was particularly harsh with the folks down in Columbiana County, so the entire EOAC got to play some Saturday night football. Let me ask you, Coach, did that extra day kind of take a little bit of the edge off, or did that fire your players up even more?
Well, I think it really didn't matter because everything that we had gone through to get to a ball game, and everybody was like that. Everybody was like that in the area, not just us with the pandemic and everything else. We've been waiting a long time to get a ball game in. And when they came in on Friday and I said, "Hey guys, we're playing tomorrow," everybody was like, "Okay, let's just as long as we could play." And I think both teams, myself, my opinion. I didn't talk to Rich about it, but I think both teams were in a situation that they're just excited to play. They're getting an opportunity to just run around and play a game that they love, football, and that's what it came down to. But we were ready to play, and I know they were too.
You had made mention after the ball game that if you loved small school football, if you loved D6, D7 football, Saturday night's game at Leetonia was the kind of game that every football fan would have enjoyed. And defense was the theme in the first half, and then both teams scored a couple of touchdowns each. In the second half, you guys get a 14-13 victory over Southern. I got to talk about the Bears' defense. That defense, it hasn't looked that good in quite some time. It put into words the dominant performance that your defense put together, specifically in the first half against a really good Southern team.
Well, we played well first and second half, and my brother's at DC. I'm really lucky to have him. He's very well organized. Does a great job, and our kids are prepared. They play hard. They get after it. They're very coachable. And it was just a great effort. And you know what? It's exciting and I think it's in all sports. Doesn't matter what sport is. If you're playing good defense, it's the whole team. It's not one guy. It's if it's basketball, if it's baseball, it doesn't matter what it is. It's really team-oriented because everybody's got responsibilities, and they got to take care of them. And our guys did that. They just played so hard every down. And like you said, I mean, Southern's got some great skilled kids. Rich is a great coach, excellent play caller. And to be able to, go a half against those guys and not let them in, that's pretty impressive work right there.
Well, Coach, I also know defense is it's very spreadable in terms of if one person's playing some solid D, all right, the next person's like, well, if he's going to play solid D, I got to play solid D, and then before you know it, 11 guys are playing solid D because the other 10 guys are playing solid D, and that 11th guy is saying, hey, I gotta do my part to play solid D. So it's catchy, and I'm with you. If you got, especially on the football field, if you have 11 guys playing defense, not doing too much, but doing what they are supposed to do, covering the ground, covering the area that they're supposed to do, and not doing way too much, man, that is such a great thing to see on the football field when the entire defense is in sync and doing their job.
Well, yeah, it's old saying in football, saying in sport, don't let go of the rope, and nobody let go. I mean, literally, nobody let go the whole, all 4 quarters for us, and we're just, we're happy and proud that we were on that end of it, and be able to get it done. I mean, it was a great effort against a great team, and like you said earlier, I mean, it was just a great high school football game. I mean, I really, and obviously I am ecstatic for our kids that we wound up winning that game, but nobody walked off that field loser. I mean, you're talking about kids playing hard till the very last opportunity to play, and it was Southern local, and it was Latonia. And that's what, and you know what? That's what high school football is supposed to be all about. Just giving your absolute best effort, for as long as you possibly can. And both teams did that.
No question about that. And Paul, I would give all props to Southern local, and I will. Anytime you can hold Marco Ferry to 15 yards in one half of play, your team is playing great defense, and that's exactly what they did with Marco. Then in the second half, and this is going to be a theme because Marco got big in the off season for this reason. He didn't quit. He got a extra gear, and your guy was able to go over 100 yards in the second half alone and have a real productive night after getting shut down in half number 1.
Well, that's a combination of a couple things too. I mean, his coach didn't help him much, meaning me. I didn't do a very good job of calling plays because I'm the call player on it. I'm the play caller, and I didn't do a great job. And in the first half, I put us in some formations and made some decisions that weren't real good. And I was just lucky enough playing. The coaching team was good enough to overcome it, and we eventually figured it out. But and we put ourselves in some better situations, and I made some better play calls. In the set. And like you said, if you're going to hold Marco Ferry down, even if it's a quarter, it's a tall order. He's a great player, and we've got some good offensive linemen to go along with him.
No question about that. Paul Julia, the head football coach of the Latonia Bears, joining me on the MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning Hotline. Coach, you take on Youngstown Christian at Camel High School on Saturday night, a second consecutive Saturday night of high school football for the Bears, and just 2 games on the docket. So you're sharing the spotlight with Warren JFK, who will be hosting St. Thomas Aquinas. Does Saturday night jack the kids up, or is it business as usual?
Well, we're concerned about it. It is a Saturday. We got a little longer week. It's changing things, to our normal, the normal way we go about things. And that is a concern. Our biggest concern really is the staff. This is the first time that we're actually traveling. This is the first time we're going to be on a bus this year. And that's always you never know how your kids are going to react once they get off it. It's a different. You got to change. You got to ride in a bus. And we're going to a stadium that none of our kids have been to before. I mean, there's not a kid on our team that probably has even knows where Camel is, let alone Camel Stadium. So we really don't know what's going to happen with those things, and it's a concern. We've addressed the club about it, the team about it, and hopefully, our seniors will, keep us calm and keep us, motivated and seeing our task at hand. But and plus you throw in a Saturday night on that deal too. So we don't know what's going to happen, but we're just going to go down there and hopefully play well.
You get an extra day to prepare for Valley Christian, who pitched a shutout against East Palestine. So many things to unpack right now. Not only do you get the extra day to prepare for Valley Christian, you're also playing on artificial turf, which Leetonia does not have. So practicing on grass and then going to the artificial turf, that's going to be something that you guys are going to have to deal with as well. And then when the game is over, one less day to prepare for the arch rival when you guys take on Lisbon in the Spaghetti Bowl.
Yeah, those things we've all had those discussions. As a staff, it is what it is. I mean, there are things, when you, and I think it's one of the things that sports teaches young people that, there are things that are going to be out of your control, but what you have to do is control the things you can. And, because we tell our kids all the time, be where you are. So, wherever they are, if they're in class or, they're at home or, they're at work or, in our case on the football field, be there and be focused on that task at hand that you're doing right then. And, and hopefully, that'll get across to them and, we'll be able to get our work in for Lisbon next week. But right now we've got to concentrate on a great Valley Christian team.
The change from grass to turf, naturally, the speed factor can come in. You and I have talked about this. You have a pretty quick Leetonia team. Put them on turf, and we'll let the horses fly. I mean, you guys will really be fast on the turf. And help me out, Coach. You guys are going to go to Wellsville. So are these the only two games in which you're going to be playing on turf in the regular season?
Yeah, right now that's we've got Valley and we've got and we've got Wellsville on the turf, and there is some potential discussion. Nothing's been finalized. We might go down to YSU and play East Palestine too for our home game because of the pandemic. So everybody can go to a game. So we can have a game where, you want to bring, your whole neighborhood, bring them. So that's potentially we might be there too. But like you said, it's a concern because we haven't ran on it. Our kids, and we are going to go early. So our kids can, just play a little catch, kind of jog around some, move their body on it, get accustomed to it some. And hopefully that'll help us. But, obviously we can't get any practice in or get any work, done, on that type of surface before the game. So it's going to be new for us. And obviously, they're used to it because that's what they play on all the time.
Coach, it's interesting you bring up the point of playing a home game away from Bear Stadium, and unofficially 270 tickets are allocated because of the fact that Leetonia Stadium is quite small. And one of the reasons why it is, well, they're a D7 program, so you really don't need a large stadium per se. And it's unfortunate because it looks like the Bears are going to be a really, really good football team. And well, the village of Leetonia loves watching really good football, and I remember growing up in the in the late 70s and 80s when I was in high school and the Bears were winning Tri-County League championships, you could not jam another person into the old stadium next to the old high school. It was a party atmosphere, and I know that you guys are looking to bring Bears football to that point, and to that point, this couldn't have come at a worse time, the pandemic, because you're going to be having a lot of folks, and I've already heard people say, wait a second, I want to see the Bears play. So I love the idea of moving one of the home games from a very small Leetonia Stadium, George Trombitas Memorial Stadium, to a larger venue, whether it be Stambaugh or a school with a larger venue, because technically, or personally, I should say, I want to see everyone from Leetonia have the opportunity to see this team play.
Well, that's what, that was our, idea, looking at it. And even, even for the team that's traveling too, we're, like I said, it's the first time we're going on the road. Now you're more limited, when you travel, to be able to get everybody in there. Now the bands aren't going, so, that limits how many tickets you need. But, still, people are going to fall short. There's going to be people that are going to want to go and they can't go. And I hate to see that, really. I mean, I hate to see that for anybody. And it doesn't matter if it's Leetonia, it's the Palestine, Columbiana, United, Valley Christian, anybody, if they want to support their community, whether the team's good or bad, but if they want to support their community, they should have an opportunity to do that. To support the kids and and the coaches and and the kids in the band and the cheerleaders, everybody that's involved. And it's just a tough time. It's the time we're living in right now, because it's and I've said many times, some of the best entertainment that you can have that's incredibly affordable is high school. It could be a football game, it could be a soccer match, it could be a choir concert, it could be a basketball game, a baseball game. You can go watch our baseball team for nothing. And it's good entertainment. It's good ball. The kids play hard. They put a lot of time and effort into it, and it's just the time where we're at in our society right now, where those people can't get that opportunity. Because it's a great thing. My dad, God bless him, used to say that all the time. There's no place I'd want to be on a Friday night. Get my wife, go to a high school football game somewhere, get a Coke, get a hot dog, get dinner there, watch a game, watch some kids run around, play the game for the right reasons. It's great entertainment. You get to see the band, you get to see the cheerleaders. It's a slice of Americana. And we do it well in Northeast Ohio. We really do. We do it real well. We have a lot of great bands, a lot of great football teams, a lot of great venues to play in. And it's sad that people that want to go can't go. But, it's something we just got to deal with. At least the kids get to play. Yeah, exactly. And I would say that the folks in Leetonia have stepped up in a big, big way, going to ysnlive.com, paying $9.99 to watch the Bears on a pay-per-view. And, the Italian-American Club, of which I'm a proud member of in downtown Leetonia, they aired the game on their TVs. And from what I understand, there was a ton of people at the Italian-American Club watching the Leetonia Southern game. So, the folks that aren't able to go to the games, they have found a way to ysnlive.com to drop $9.99 on a pay-per-view and watch the team play. But I'm with you on what you brought up with Northeastern Ohio, Coach. I've lived in 8 states, including Ohio, and I've often said this. There is something very special about high school football in Northeastern Ohio.
the pageantry with the bands, the cheerleaders, the fans, the excitement, the tailgating before the game, the way the game is covered with the media. There is not another place quite like Northeastern Ohio. I mean, yeah, there are some areas that have better football. Texas has better football, but we do not have anyone ahead of us when it comes to the whole package, the spectrum of the intangibles of high school football, of which we've spoken. Northeastern Ohio does it better than anyone that I've ever seen, and I've lived in 7 other states, 4 of which are supposedly hotbeds for high school football, and I have yet to see an area that comes remotely close to Northeastern Ohio when it comes to the complete package.
Well, I agree with that. And you know what, Ron, even within Ohio, because, you know, like you go down in the Columbus area, and they play great football in the Columbus area. They've got a lot of great coaches. They've got a lot of great players. But, you know, the venues that they have, you know, their stadiums, there's not a Fawcett. There's not a Paul Brown Stadium. There's not a Molotov. You know, there's not a Bo Ryan. You know, even Camel Stadium, old WPA project that, you know, that has great history. You know, the history of so many of these stadiums that these kids get to play in is really, I mean, it's amazing. You know, you look at Columbiana County, you look at Wellsville, you know, you look at Lisbon Stadium, WPA project, Columbiana's WPA project, East Palestine. There's, I mean, you go around our area, there's a whole bunch of great places to play high school football at.
I agree with that wholeheartedly. Yeah, I agree with that wholeheartedly.
Yeah, there's a lot of...
I was going to say, Coach, you guys are going to appreciate the absolutely gorgeous turf at John Knappich Field in Camel. They did it right, and when you guys take a first look at that turf, you're going to be blown away. Just an absolutely gorgeous turf.
Yes, it is. It's a beautiful facility, and our kids are lucky, and you know, to be able to play in a stadium like that with the history of that stadium and the players that have played in that stadium. You know, YSU used to play there. You know, back in the day, they played in Camel for years.
The Youngstown Hard Hats. You remember the Hard Hats, yeah. Coach?
Oh yeah, I remember the Hard Hats. I remember Joe Croft. I mean, he was my hero. My dad took me to every game. I mean, I was obviously a lot smaller, and it was a long time ago. But I still remember going to those games. Oh, it was so fun because Jim Erskine was a big guy, and my dad was friends with him. He used to bring us into the locker room and stuff after the games. It was so exciting. I mean, it was just awesome to be able to see those guys and be able to hang out with them. And you know, maybe, hey, Ron, that'll be our next move. You and I will start the Hard Hats.
That would be incredible. I remember the Hard Hats very well. That was a special brand of football for sure.
Oh yes, it was. Yes, it was.
Hey, Coach, always a pleasure. Good luck on Saturday. You got a tough team. Coach Ware has done an outstanding job with Valley Christian, and I know you'll have your hands full, but I know the boys are going to be fired up for this one.
Oh, our kids will play hard. I mean, we feel very confident in that. Valley Christian's a great team. I mean, they run very well. They have several really fast kids that really can get up and down the field, and they're just a touchdown waiting to happen. I mean, they really are. And you know, in the scrimmage in our first game, they scored in so many different ways: interception, kick return, long pass, long run. I mean, basically every way you could. They fell on a fumble in the end zone. They scored every way you could score. They scored off of a fumble recovery. They scored off an interception. They scored off a kick return. They scored off a long, catch and run, and they scored off a long run. So, I mean, you know, there's really no area that they're weak in, and it's a scary game for us. And, you know, they're a good addition to the league, though. I mean, it's nice to have them. You know, it's nice to be able to go to a different part of the valley and, you know, play a little football.
It is a good addition for them, and it just makes the EOAC that much more balanced and that much more competitive. And, And that's what you want to see. I don't think that anyone's going to be as competitive as the Northeast 8. I mean, that's just a great conference. But for D6 and D7 football, the EOAC, the Mahoning Valley Athletic Conference, those are two really good conferences, competitive conferences in the area, and they do a nice job serving the smaller schools in this area.
Oh yeah, they're both leagues are fun. I mean, they really are. They're they're fun. It's fun football, and I mean myself. I mean, I know they already went with another league, but it would be nice if they put all of them together, and and just let the ADs and principals and put together schedules with all the 7s and 6s and and have some 5s and really be able to even, I think, amp it up more. But I think that eventually will happen, where everything will just be morphed into one big league. Because, I mean, what high school athletics has become is, for football, it's about making it to the playoffs. And for basketball and baseball, it's about making a run, once you hit the tournament. So, we can get more in the playoffs and create some tournament play before the tournament. Because if you look at colleges, colleges always have those big league tournaments before they go to the NCAA tournament, which gets them ready for the NCAA tournament. It gets them ready to play one and done basketball. So, it would be good if they put everything together, and hopefully someday they'll do that.
I'd love to see some cross-reference, non-conference schedule type of games in week 1 through 3. Now, obviously, with the pandemic this year, it's not going to be able to happen. But in 2021, assuming we kick this virus to the curb, I'd love to see the EOAC and the MVAC playing each other weeks 1 through 3. Get that nice little intersection crossover games for those 3 weeks, and get everyone prepared for their conference schedule. I think it would be a great thing, Coach.
Oh, I would love to see it too. I mean, put the two leagues together, have the AD sit down, let's figure it out, and get those games filled, and and move forward and keep everything in the valley. Instead of teams chasing somebody outside the valley for long trips. But nobody ever asked me my opinion, so but I always have one.
Hey, keep winning ball games, and that statue of Paul Julia will be erected at some point in time in Beartown.
Oh, I don't know about that, Ron. I just want one more in Valley Christian. I'll be happy another week.
Well, that would be nice. If you guys can go 2-0, then you get set for the Spaghetti Bowl. By the way, have you talked with Coach Aldemore about the ramifications of the Spaghetti Bowl? Because and it's just my opinion, and you didn't ask for it, but I'm going to give it anyway. I think that I would love for the rivalry to go back to where it was, where the losing team, the coaches have to serve the spaghetti dinner to the winning coaches and players.
Well, I have no idea why they nixed it, Ron. I mean, I obviously wasn't there. I mean, I don't know why they did away with it. We tried to get it back last year. It just kind of fell through for some reasons, but we tried to get it back. We had my first year, because I knew that it existed from when I was at Crestview. Obviously, I was never part of it, but I knew it existed. And my first year at Ladonia, we had some discussions about it, and it kind of fell off. And then it kind of fell off. So I don't know if it'll ever get back to that point again. I hope it does. What my suggestion was is that wherever you play, whoever has the home game, you eat there that year. If you have the home game, then that on Saturday they come and eat. And I think it would be nice, whoever serves it, and I know that always was a part of the deal. But what I think is the neat thing about it, have those kids and our kids sit down and share a meal. sit down, break bread together, hold hands, and and be able to create a relationship. And some of those relationships, I'm sure, will last a long time. Post graduation, and those will be things that those kids will talk about. When they see each other later on in life, because I'm sure the Lisbon and Latonia guys, now when they go to a fair or they go out to eat with their wives and kids and whatnot, if they see one of those kids and one of those guys, and they had spaghetti dinner with them for 3 or 4 years in a row, they're going to know who they are. They're going to have a conversation. They're going to talk about those times, and I think that's what high school sports are all about. Once it comes down to it, I mean, we all want to win. Everybody wants to win every game. I mean, that's always your plan. Nobody plans to lose. Everybody plans to win every game. But what we want to do too is give kids great experiences. And I think them sitting down and eating, a meal with your rival is a good experience for those kids, for their kids and our kids. And so, hopefully we'll be able to get that back.
Agreed. Coach, I spoke with Matt Aldomore, and he said, hey, if you talk with Coach Julia before I do, tell him I want to have this spaghetti dinner thing brought back to life. And I told Matt, I said, hey, if you guys bring this back to life, I'll provide the meatballs. I'll make homemade meatballs for you guys, do my part in this, and we'll have some fun.
Yeah, because it's, I think it's a great tradition to get lost. And this is probably bad to say, but I'm going to come out and say it anyways. I'm sure what probably got lost in it is that Lisbon really kind of started to really dominated Latonia for a pretty good stretch there. And once that kind of happened, I think it kind of, to have a rivalry, you got to go both ways. Some.
Oh yeah.
So I think that's probably where it kind of fell off. So, but I mean, I think it would be a great thing to bring back, and we'll see. We got a couple weeks to work it out, and I'm sure. Hey, you mentioned the I-Town; they got great food there. I love eating there.
Well, listen, hey, listen. If we have to do the Latonia side on the Latonia Italian American Club, I'm not going to speak for Danny Guido and the trustees down there, but I'm sure that could definitely be taken care of. But I'll tell you this: if we're going to have dinner at Lisbon, Mary's Pizza needs to go right alongside the spaghetti, because that pizza is a staple of Lisbon.
Well, I've never had Mary's Pizza. I'm gonna have to go. I'm gonna have to go get some, because it's because that's why what we the thing is, I've always said there's only two things I'm really good at, and that's teaching somebody how to run the ball off tackle and eating. So I need to go down there and get one of those pizzas and try it out.
If you like cheese on top of your pepperoni or whatever you have, what separates Mary from the rest of them, you would normally have in Wedgwood, some of the other places, you would have the cheese and then you'd have the toppings on top of the cheese. And Mary's Pizza is the other way around. You have the toppings beneath the cheese. So it's and her crust is the crust at Mary's Pizza is just absolutely phenomenal. It's good pizza.
Well, I'm getting hungry. I may skip practice just to order a pizza.
Yeah, so I'm trying to drum up business from our good folks down in Lisbon. So you definitely want to try it out, Coach. It's good. Now, unfortunately, when I was a kid, Tony's Pizza was a staple at Latonia. And Tony DiTilio has since passed away, but my God, that pizza was unbelievable.
Well, hey, I'm a pizza guy, and so I'm gonna have to check it out sometime.
Well, get ready for Valley Christian, and then we'll talk Spaghetti Bowl when you guys take on Lisbon, and hopefully next week I can get both you and Coach Aldomore to come on the show, and maybe we can nail down a spaghetti date.
Well, let's do it. I think that sounds like a winner.
All right. Always a pleasure, sir. Good luck on Saturday against Valley.
Okay. Hey, thanks, Ronnie. We appreciate it.
All righty. Paul Julia, the head football coach of the Latonia Bears, checking in on the MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning Hotline. All right, we'll take a time out. On the other side, more of your phone calls, 330-886-0813. Back in a bit. Stick around.
This is Tommy Clem, owner of WRS Insurance Solutions, reminding you that it is open enrollment for Medicare.
Now through December 7th, those who qualify can visit our local independent agency by calling us at 330-953-3722 or visiting us at wrsinsurancesolutions.com to learn more.
Good luck to all the student athletes in the Valley.
Attention all football fans. If you can't see your team play, come and dine with us and watch it live at Boardman, Canfield, or Cortland. Or staying at home, we'll deliver right to your door. That's Coca's Pizza. We serve it hot.
2020 will be a season like we've never seen before, but 21 Sports and YSN will be there for every key moment. The plays, the players, and the stories that will headline this season. Delivered by 21 Sports and YSN.
Planning a project around your home or rental property? Trust the electrical service to the local experts with 62 years of serving the Mahoning Valley. Joe Dickey Electric is your local go-to source for responsive, reliable residential electrical work. From everyday maintenance and repairs to new installations, electrical upgrades, and safety inspections, no job is too big or too small. Call Joe Dickey Electric today, 800-549-3976, or visit DickeyElectric.com. That's DickeyElectric.com.
Myers Family Insurance knows the importance of a great team.
Our team continues to grow to help you with your Medicare and retirement needs.
The annual election period is here, so it's all hands on deck to make sure your plans still meet your needs for 2020.
Call us today.
You may find yourself in some difficulty this winter. Don't get whacked by high heating bills. Call Michael at MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning. Michael is a trusted friend who will be able to help you with many things, like getting a 95% high-efficiency furnace this winter from Rude. Michael relies on Rude, so should you. Call MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning for a free estimate, 330-259-0486, and take care of your heating and air situation.
Heating and air situation. 330-886-0813. The MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning Hotline is open. We're with you till 3 o'clock, talking some sports with you, the fans. Coming up at 2:40, we will hear from the head football coach of the LeBray Vikings. John Armini will be joining us on the MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning Hotline as LeBray has an interesting game against Brookfield coming up on Friday night. Should be a really, really good ball game on Friday nights as those two teams will hook up in a Mahoning Valley Athletic Conference gray tier showdown. Brookfield wound up winning that division last year, and LeBray coming off a victory against Camel, and Brookfield got their victory in week number 1. So those two teams will do battle on Friday night. And, of course, one of many, many games that we will be airing on YSN. And, again, with the pandemic, I'm sure that everyone is wanting to get their hands on tickets, or if they can't get their hands on tickets, wanting to find out how to go about watching your team play. Well, we have the answer. We have your hookup, if you will. Go to ysnlive.com and then go to schools. Click on the school that you are wanting to see, and make sure you're doing this with the device that you want to watch the game on. So, in other words, if you are looking to spend $9.99 to watch LeBray play, you would go to ysnlive.com. You'd click on schools. The drop box falls down, and then you would go to LeBray, click on LeBray, and use your credit card, fill out that information. But make sure you are going to be using the device that you're planning on watching the game from. So if you have an iPad, make sure that you're using your iPad when you go to ysnlive.com to sign up for the pay-per-view. So that's all we will suggest. And again, we'll have a lot of fun once again on Friday with the pay-per-views. If you are not able or you don't want to spend $9.99 to do the pay-per-view, well, you can also then go to ysnlive.com and go to Audible Call. Audible Call will be a Friday night staple in the Mahoning Valley this year. Mike Ackelson and the behind-the-scenes help that he is getting from everyone here in the YSN studios in East Palestine. If you watched it last week, hopefully you were as blown away as I was. Think about this. If you didn't watch it last week, this is what Audible Call basically is. If you've been familiar with Andrew Siciliano and his work on the Red Zone, which is part of the DirecTV Sunday Football Sunday Ticket, the Sunday Ticket, which, by the way, the NFL season starts 1 week from today. I'm just throwing it out there. 1 week from Sunday, the NFL Sunday Ticket's going to be alive and well. Think about how Andrew Siciliano is doing things with the Red Zone. That's essentially what we're doing with Audible Call. Mike Ackelson is getting information from the folks behind the scenes, and the folks behind the scenes are enabling him to go from place to place to place to place. When someone's in the red zone, they'll stay there. If there's multiple teams in the red zone, then they're going to go back and forth. Mike Ackelson, I am now going to rename him the Maestro because he's that world-famous conductor. If you're a fan of music, he's that world-famous conductor, has the little baton in his hand, and he's slapping it up against an object to get everyone's attention, i.e. the band, and then he's, doing one of these numbers, trying to get the band to play and whatnot. He is the Maestro. He is the guy that's going to be that's going to, with the help from the behind the scenes, make all of this happen. Where if you're wanting to see all of the action inside the 20-yard line, Audible Call is the right call for everyone. Now, being the football fanatic that I am, I'm going to be the guy doing Crestview games. I will be in Crestview for the game between the Rebels and Camel on Friday night as they christen the turf at Crestview High School. But if I were home and were not involved with any broadcasts, I would want to have two devices. When the Bears or the Rebels were playing, dropping $9.99 to watch that game on one device, and on the other device, I'm on ysnlive.com, and I am watching Audible Call. If you're not available to go to a high school game, and again, it's such a weird year this year with the pandemic and football stadiums only allowed to be at 15% capacity or 1,500 max, whichever number is first. There's not going to be very many people that are going to be able to see their team play. And that's why the OHSAA stepped up and said, hey, live video streaming or live football games on over-the-air TV or the internet, you're allowed to do it. And because of that, we now have the $9.99 pay-per-view to watch your favorite high school football team. You can go to ysnlive.com using the device that you're planning on watching the game from. You'd go to ysnlive.com, click on school, the drop box falls down, click on the team that you're looking to watch, fill out your information with your credit card, and when the game is about ready to start, click the play button, and you've got your seat for the night. If you're not wanting to spend the $9.99 on the pay-per-view, you can still go to ysnlive.com and you can click on Audible Call. Audible Call is free. And again, for the folks that just want to see red zone action, Mike Ackelson and the folks behind the scenes, they will most definitely give you all of the action from the red zone and beyond, and they did an unbelievable job in week number 1. Well, week number 2, we're going to have 20 some odd games, which is a heck of a lot better than just 14 or 12 games on last Friday, which turned out to be 12 games last Friday and about 7 or 8 games on Saturday. Now we're talking 20 plus games on Friday, 2 games on Saturday. No audible call on Saturday. It's just going to be Friday from 7 to 10. Mike Ackelson and the behind-the-scenes folks at YSN will give you every game that we're doing, any team that's in the red zone or closing seconds of an exciting game. I believe you guys had an opportunity to see the closing seconds of the crazy game up in Champion in the driving rain when Champion upset Crestview in week number 1. So it'll be an awful lot of fun. If you're a fan of high school football and you want to get super creative, well, you can have an iPad over here, a laptop over here, and be able to watch both and have a great time doing it. So ysnlive.com is your home on Friday nights, and we're going to do it really, really well and better than anyone. So you just all you need to do is just go to ysnlive.com, and we will have you covered in many, many ways. All right, 330-886-0813. That is the number to call as we get you through this Thursday together. Indians are off. The Cubs and the Pirates, they're playing baseball in between the raindrops. The Bucks and the Cubbies just underway. They're in the bottom of the first inning. No score. The Pirates are currently riding a 3-game losing streak, 10-24 on the campaign. They are 11 games in back of the Chicago Cubs, 7 games in back of the St. Louis Cardinals for second place. And again, second place just as important as first place if you want to go to the postseason, because the top 2 teams in each division automatically go to the playoffs as we expand the playoffs. The first round will be best of 3. The higher seed will have all 3 games at their home stadium, and they'll be the home team for all 3 games. 2 minimum, 3 maximum if there needs to be a rubber game. But the home team, seeds 1, 2, 3, and 4, they will be the home team for that entire best of 3 series. And then you go to the AL and NLDS. That's the more conventional baseball, best of 5 in the AL and NLDS, and then you've got a best of 7 AL and NLCS, and then you go to the World Series. Now, from what we've been told, there is going to potentially be a bubble for Major League Baseball to where the American League teams, and nothing official yet, you still have to get it through the most powerful union, being the Major League Baseball union. The Players Association would have to vote on this. But the proposal, from what I understand, is the American League teams would be playing either at Dodger Stadium or San Diego through the ALDS and ALCS. The first round, the best of 3, would be at the home team site. So in other words, if Tampa Bay is the top seed, they would take on the 8th seed. All 3 games would be played at the Mausoleum, known as that dome dump crap in St. Petersburg. They would play the entire series in that dilapidated piece of garbage down in St. Petersburg. Again, 2 versus 7, 3 versus 6, 4 versus 5. Top 4 seeds would be home field for the entire series. Once you go to the ALDS and ALCS, that's when the remaining teams and the coaches and the entourage would all be in the bubble. And from what we understand, the American League teams would be doing their thing in either Los Angeles, playing their games at Dodger Stadium, or San Diego, playing their games at Petco. And then the National League teams would be playing their games either in Houston or in Arlington. And the reason why they want the National League in Texas, well, they don't want the Dodgers or the Padres to have home games. Meanwhile, in the American League, the games are out west because they don't want to have the Astros if they're going to get into the playoffs. And right now, they're 6 games better than Seattle for second place. So it looks more and more like the Astros will be in the postseason. The American League folks don't want the Astros to have home field advantage. So that's why the American League would move to the prominent ballparks in the National League, Dodger Stadium or Petco, and where no one would have home field advantage. And then the National League teams would go to the American League cities, whether it be Houston or Arlington. Now, I will say this. I'm not 100% on board with the bubble. Yes, it works, especially if you're able to, make sure that the bubble is not broken in any way, shape, or form. It's you've got to make sure that everyone is going to mind their P's and Q's. Everyone is going to stay within the bubble, and you're not going to go in and out of the bubble. You saw that in the NBA. They nipped that crap in the bud. The National Hockey League has had a perfect bubble where no one has gone outside the bubble, and the hockey players have done a fantastic job. I'm on board if you have everyone respect the bubble and you don't have the folks going to a casino or a nightclub or any other place. As long as you're within the bubble, okay. Now, personally, I'd much rather have the home games in Cleveland and the road games in New York or wherever. But if you're going to do the bubble, okay. What I like about this, potentially, and again, it's not official yet, but what I do like about this is the Indians pitching staff, which is already the best in the American League and arguably the best in Major League Baseball. If you put the Indians pitching staff in a pitching ballpark, Petco and Dodger Stadium are both pitchers' paradises. The dimensions are pretty large, and the ball doesn't really fly out of Petco or Dodger Stadium all that well. If you put the Indians in Petco or Dodger Stadium, you're not going to see a lot of runs given up by this Indians pitching staff. The Indians will have a pretty substantial advantage. Now, the flip side of that is there's not going to be a lot of runs scored. And for a baseball team that is at times struggling to put some runs on the board, and by the way, 17-2 is the Indians' record when they've scored 4 or more runs, but they have played 17 games in which the Indians have scored 2 runs or less. And by the way, they're 5-12 in that scenario. You're not going to have a lot of runs scored when you put games in spacious ballparks like Dodger Stadium and Petco, especially if you're going up against a really good pitching staff. So I like the idea that the Indians pitchers would have an even bigger advantage knowing that they're going to be pitching in a very spacious ballpark, which will give them a really big advantage. But on the flip side, the offense, it's not doing any favors for the offense, unless, of course, you're going up against a staff that really isn't all that good. And when you get to the top 4, there's a pretty good chance that you're going to be seeing some quality pitching. So I don't think that you're going to have one of the 4 teams with garbage pitching. As a matter of fact, it's not going to surprise me if the top four, three of the top four, the Indians, the White Sox, and the Twins. It would not surprise me if that is the case, because of the fact that the Indians and the Twins both pitch like no one's business. Now, the Twins have bounced back. They've won their last 2 games against the White Sox. The White Sox were in first place for a little bit. Now they've tailed off a little bit. They're 1 game in back of Cleveland. It wouldn't surprise me if the Indians, the White Sox, the Twins, and Tampa were your top 4 teams, although Oakland has been playing some damn good baseball all year long. But we'll see what happens. I'll tell you this, though. If the Indians can continue to score 4 or more runs, and again, they've done it 19 of their first 37 games. So they have played over half of their season scoring 4 or more runs. They are 17-2. They are 18-2 when they score 3 or more runs. That is a 90% success rate when they score 3 or more runs this year. That's how dominant this pitching is. And if you put the American League teams in a bubble, and that bubble is going to be at Dodger Stadium or Petco in San Diego, the Indians are the overwhelming favorite to win the pennant. I'm just going to say that right now. The Indians would be the overwhelming favorite to win the pennant because their pitching, there is no weakness on this pitching staff. None. There is no weakness whatsoever. So we'll see. The Players Association still has to vote on this, and they are the most powerful union. But, man, this could be fun, and this could be really, really good news for the Indians. And they just keep scoring runs. That's all they need to do. They're off today. They open up a series tomorrow as they are back home taking on the Milwaukee Brewers. Milwaukee is trying desperately to overtake St. Louis. They're a game behind the Cardinals. Milwaukee 17-19 on the campaign. They come to Cleveland for a weekend series. All right, we're going to take a timeout. When we come back, the MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning hotline is open. 330-886-0813. Back in a bit.
Baird Brothers remains your source for fine hardwood products. For the time being, we're open for customer pickup only on weekdays, 9 a.m. to 4 p.m., and Saturday from 9 a.m. till noon. Place your order online at BairdBrothers.com. Baird Brothers, for the place you love.
Quality, customer service, and integrity. Those are the 4 words that have driven our success since 1957 at Joe Dickey Electric.
Joe Dickey Electric is one Mahoning Valley landmark business that stays current with the requirements of our customers. Family owned and managed, we are an electrical contractor and energy solutions provider. Every member of our team adds to his or her skill set through ongoing training. Residential, commercial, industrial, automotive, and more. We keep ahead of the needs of our customers with a fleet of more than 50 vehicles and 24/7 emergency service, so you're never left in the dark.
The 4M Company, being an architect and construction manager for over 40 years, has had the opportunity to use many different electrical businesses for our projects. The depth, quality, and knowledge and attention to detail displayed by Dickey Electric makes them stand out above all the rest.
For state-of-the-art expertise and a timeless commitment to our customers, contact Joe Dickey Electric. We are everything electrical.
Armstrong Local Programming has always delivered an exclusive and unique perspective on the very best events your region offers. High school sports, community events, parades, all your favorite shows from Armstrong are now calling the Neighborhood Channel their home.
Watch Out and About, Locally Speaking, and many other great local shows right here on the Armstrong Neighborhood Channel.
Find out everything that the Neighborhood Channel has to offer at ArmstrongNeighborhood.com. Spirit, town pride, local communities. Welcome to the neighborhood.
Welcome back to a Thursday edition of Running Point on ysnlive.com. Ron Potesta with you. The MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning Hotline open for business, 330-886-0813. That's 330-886-0813. Coming up at 2:40, we will chat with the head coach of the LeBray Vikings, oh, good Lord, Ron, you just lost your name. John Armini. Good God, it sucks being old. Let's go to Emmanuel. Emmanuel, you're on the MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning Hotline. What's up, brother?
Well, how you doing, Ronnie?
I'm losing my mind. I couldn't remember John Armini's name. It's getting old is really really tough prospect. That's a tough thing.
Well, to be honest with you, Ron, I never lie and I always show respect, right? But, there has been a lot of different coaching changes out there in LeBray. It is hard to keep up.
This is true. Although John's been there for a while, so I have to own up to my screw up. So there you go.
Yeah, so was Coach Bourne, So, yeah. But it is what it is. I wanted to talk to you about baseball because you're my baseball guru. But I have to say this, every time the Indians, they beat up on Kansas City or Detroit, you guys start talking about World Series. So we'll see because to me, the book's out whether the Indians can score 3 runs, to be honest with you.
Well, and look, I mean, would it surprise you if I were to tell you of the 37 games that have been played this year, the Indians have scored 4 or more runs in 19 of those games?
Yeah, well, how many of those games were against Detroit? How many times they beat Detroit, and how many times those games was against Kansas City?
No, listen, I get that. Don't bring that. Listen,
and Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh.
Hey, listen, you guys are playing Baltimore and Boston. Those are, Baltimore is a .444 win percentage. That would be the basement in the American League Central. Boston's got a .324 win percentage. That would be the basement and then some in the American League Central. You're playing teams in the National League West. The Washington Nationals are 12-22. The New York Mets are 16-21. I mean, it's not like
everybody you just mentioned besides the Mets can hit the ball. They don't have any pitching.
Okay,
that's all I'm saying.
Kansas City can hit the ball. So can Detroit. So, the Central Division is good this year.
Speaking of Detroit, right? And because I got a buddy who likes Detroit, and I tried to tell him they were playing, they weren't playing baseball the way they're playing. They should play baseball. Now Tampa Bay has been beating up on the Yankees, right?
Oh yeah.
So my Yankees come out and throw a 102-mile fastball behind somebody's head.
Yeah.
now Tampa Bay is mad, and they're arguing and fussing. Well, guess what? They're not going to beat us 20 times in a row. And guess what? The guy you threw the ball at just hit 3 home runs and 4 at-bats. That's baseball, wouldn't you think?
Well, look, I mean, if you were trying to intimidate Tampa, it didn't work because they kicked the Yankees' ass last night. If you're a Yankees fan, and you are, you don't have to play Tampa Bay the rest of the year. So you ought to be thankful that you're 10 games with Tampa, or what is it? Was it 10 games or 9 games? Regardless, yeah. You're 8.
We lost 9 and 1.
No, you're 8-2. I mean, you got to get that second win in there. But you dropped 8 out of 10 to Tampa Bay. So
you think Tampa Bay is thinking about that now when we meet them in the playoffs? They're thinking about that fastball behind the ears. That's baseball, man.
Well, look, I mean, Chapman is a pig to begin with. I mean, he's one of those guys. He should have been suspended for a lot longer. He
shouldn't be in the league. Be honest with you. Now we've talked to that about that before. But he, that's baseball. Yeah. And now I didn't get a chance to talk to you. I seen a pretty good football team last Friday in Benedictine. They're pretty good, and I think it's going to be a pretty good game tomorrow because Cardinal Mooney kind of got pushed around by Steubenville, and I just want to see what Cardinal Mooney's going to bring to the table. Because Harding played a good game. It's just that I thought I was seeing Mario Manningham out there, or Ted Ginn, or Omar Provey. That guy from Benedictine, he's only a sophomore.
Yeah,
he was something else.
Yeah, Benedictine, Division II, Region 6. They're going to pose some problems in that region. That's a really good Benedictine team. And, I said this when I saw the score. Well, naturally, I thought of you because you're a huge Harding fan. But, look, Steve Arnold's club is going to be okay. Just like in Boardman. You got plastered by Fitch 33-3. Boardman's going to be just fine. They just ran into a buzzsaw. You guys ran into a buzzsaw in Benedictine. Harding is going to be fine. You guys are going to win 4 games, maybe even 5. There are some really positive things, and Harding fans will see this through the season. That's a good football team you guys have up in Warren.
Yeah, but speaking of Boardman, now there's always been a soft spot in my heart for Boardman, except for the time when we blocked that kick and we were making snowmans and they picked it up and ran it in and beat us.
Yeah,
that was crazy. But what about Boardman's quarterback? Is he back now? What are they going to do?
Honestly, I haven't heard one way or the other. I know that Boardman is a lot better when they have the healthy starting quarterback, but I have not heard one way or the other about his the prospects of him playing in week number 2, and we'll find out. But it's Boardman will be fine. You guys will be fine. I tend to agree with what you're saying with the game against Mooney. Cardinal Mooney has an awful lot of improving to do, and both teams are 0-1 and looking to get in the win column. I think it'll be a spirited game on Friday night.
Well, one more last question, because my doctor retired, and the guy that took his place, he's a good guy, and he's a South Range graduate, so we talking one Raider to another.
Oh, there you go.
Is South Range that good, or Poland didn't have a good game? I mean, it seems to me like South Range is starting to own Poland. Am I missing something here?
No, the South Range is that good. And now we're going to find out just how good they are when they go up to Girard and take on the Indians, because Girard put up a pretty nice number in the second half and knocked off Lakeview 35-0. But no, make no mistake about it. Coach Yeagley has a really good team in South Range this year, and I had him on the show earlier. His venture into the Northeast 8, there were a lot of naysayers thinking, this D5 program is going to get lit up when they take on the Polands and the Niles and the Struthers and the Hubbards and the Lakeviews and the Girards, anything but. South Range has more than held their own against the big boys, and no, this is a really good Division 5 program. It's just a damn shame that the team that is better than everyone on a year-in, year-out basis is in the same region, and that's Kirtland.
Yeah. And they're good year in, year out. I hope Camp is listening, because I want somebody to find out when was the last time Latonia opened up the season with a win.
It's been a while.
Go Bears.
Well,
Go Bears.
no, actually, wait a second. Last year they opened up with a win. They beat Sebring.
Okay.
It's normally the last few years, they didn't open up with a win, but last year I was at the game. It was on a Thursday night. They did beat Sebring in Latonia. As a matter of fact, Coach Julia allowed me to call one play. And obviously, I let Marco Ferri run the ball because I ain't stupid. And he gained like 11 or 12 yards. And then I said, "Hey, can I call another play?" He goes, "Hell no. Yeah, we don't want to lose the game, Ron." I'm like, "Yeah, there you go."
Okay, my brother, man. It's nice talking to you again. Okay,
I'll see you
later.
330-886-0813. I don't understand why they wouldn't let me call another play. I mean, come on. I think it would have been a lot of fun. I got my first down, though. It was what was it, 2nd and 10, and I said, we're going to fool him. Give the ball to Marco. Let him do a little pitch to the outside. Sure enough, pitch to the outside, 11, 12 yards, got a first down. This is pretty easy. Yeah. Your services are no longer rendered. I think I may have heard that once or twice in my career. 330-886-0813. The MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning hotline is open with you till 3 o'clock. Again, coming up on Friday, cannot stress this enough. All you need to do on your football Friday in the Mahoning Valley, kick your feet back, get your snacks, and get your device, whether it be an iPad, a computer, laptop, your smartphone, whatever device you're planning on using, go to ysnlive.com and you can watch what I consider to be one of the best programs at YSN Live, and it might even be better than Running Point, which I'm not afraid to admit when there's a program better than mine, because there not many are, but that's okay. I am more than willing to admit when there is a better program, and I will also say without any hesitation, the Maestro, aka Mike Ackelson, will be on his A game as he always is. All right, let's get to Tony. Tony, you're on the MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning hotline. What's up, brother? Uh-oh, Tony's gone. I don't want to talk to dial tone. I'd rather talk to Tony, not dial tone. All right, 330-886-0813. That is the number to call, the MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning hotline. Cubs have scored a run in the top of the second. They have played 2 from PNC. The Cubbies leading the Pirates 1-0 as the Cubs get on the board in the top half of inning number 2. Who scored the run? That would be Schwarber scoring on the RBI base hit by Caratini. So the Cubs up 1-0 in the top of the third from PNC as they are playing between the raindrops. Final game of that series. Indians are off. They open up a series at home on Friday against Milwaukee, and hopefully the Indians will continue their winning ways. And again, last night, 5 runs scored. Tyler Naquin, couple of home runs. The Indians have now scored 4 or more runs in 19 of their 37 games. And if you... And I don't like piling on to my brethren because, look, it's the media, and some people have made comments about how the media doesn't do their job, and especially in the news media with all the stuff going on in the world and whatnot. And we've become a polarized nation in so many different ways. But there, it's bled over to the sports where people are like, oh, you people are too negative, or, oh, you're just trying to pound on a point. Let me bear this repeating again for everyone that thinks the Indians' offense is below average. The Indians have scored 4 or more runs in 19 of their 37 games. It is still an offense that struggles at times, but it's an offense that is getting a lot more production than what is being told. And I just want to point that out. All right, let's go to Tony. Tony, you're on the MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning hotline. What's up, brother?
Hi, Ron. It was great to hear my friend Emmanuel call, and I had to call immediately because I'm going to get off this phone and get right back to the video and watch if I can induce any PTSD-type tics or anything in you from our old days.
Oh, Lord. Oh, why do you do that to me? What's on your mind, man?
Pitching. You mentioned pitching, and I just want to mention a few contemporary guys and throw them out in the mix of these top 5 in the last 50 years. That's it's a long time, but what about Pedro Martinez?
Oh, he's in my top 5.
I didn't hear him. Okay, I'm sorry.
I threw out 10 pitchers, and we're all doing this because of the passing of Tom Seaver last night. Passed away due to dementia, and I know this firsthand. I lost my grandmother to dementia, and it's just a horrible, horrible disease where toward the end of their life they don't recognize anybody. It is a brutally difficult disease to deal with for the folks that are taking care of that person, it's equally as brutal for the person that's suffering from it as well. My top 10, if I'm including left-handers and right-handers in the last 50 years, right-handers, I got 6 pitchers. I've got Bob Gibson, Tom Seaver, Pedro Martinez, Greg Maddux, Jim Palmer, and Roger Clemens. My 4 left-handers are Steve Carlton, Clayton Kershaw, Tom Glavine, and Randy Johnson.
Okay. Well, again, I wanted to bring. I didn't know you had mentioned Martinez, but I wanted to throw out maybe a few more. What about Scherzer, Max Scherzer?
He's close to that list. He really is close to that list. There's guys. Scherzer's one. Corey Kluber, when he was in his prime, would definitely be another one that would be on that list. Nolan Ryan.
What about the guy pitching for the Astros?
Verlander would be close. Nolan Ryan, I think a lot of people would probably look at me and say, why the hell wouldn't you have Nolan Ryan on this list? Okay, fair point.
Strikeouts isn't the only criteria to make the list.
Well, exactly, and he also walked more people than anyone else, too. I mean, the thing with Ryan, or especially early on, he didn't know where the hell the ball was going. He threw hard, but he had no idea where the ball was going.
Yeah, interesting. Yeah, very interesting. Hey, the pitcher that the black pitcher who came into the league real late,
Satchel Paige.
Satchel Paige. Thank you. I'm sorry. The great thing about him, and is he became bigger in life in my mind retrospectively, because of course we never experienced it or anything like. The age that he pitched to and the age that he came into the major leagues, that really made him bigger than life to me.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, he was in his 40s when he was putting up some decent numbers. And the 50s were considered to be the up until about 10 years ago, the 50s were considered to be the golden age of baseball. I mean, you had a who's who of Major League Baseball talent, future Hall of Famers, Mantle and Berra and Willie Mays and all kinds of other great players. Hank Aaron was just starting out. Clemente was just starting out. There was just great players in that golden age, and to have Satchel Paige in his early 40s do what he did, that's pretty impressive.
Yeah. I had another point, and it's I know what it was. The local kid we brought up yesterday. I don't know if our Champ Sumner called in and discussed him or not, but I actually had to get on the web and look and see if there's any information about him. Apparently, he's doing really well out there, and they project him to be maybe a 400-yard rusher for them. They're using him at running back this year.
I'm going to be curious to see what he does as a running back. I think his home should be a slot receiver. I think you get him into space that way and let him be a kick returner and a punt returner, especially a punt returner. My God, this kid could change games on a dime by returning punts, and hopefully we get an opportunity to see that, because this kid is electric. And I made this comment. I made this comment when he was in high school and have made it ever since. Lynn Bowden is one of those guys that has vision unlike anything I've ever seen. I can't even begin to come up with a player that has that vision that Lynn Bowden has, at least in this area. I don't recall a high school player in this area having that vision where he was 5 steps ahead.
The guy that Emmanuel just mentioned, the receiver from Harding that Emmanuel just mentioned, and for some reason I'm drawing blanks on all these names.
Is it Provitt or Manningham?
No, Provitt.
Yeah.
Provitt.
Yeah. Omar Provitt might have been the best wide receiver I've ever seen on the high school level.
Once he got the ball, there was, he had eyes in the back of his head.
Yeah. Yeah. Tony, he's probably the closest when it comes to knowing or 5 steps ahead of everyone else. That the vision was that impressive. I think that you bring up a really, really good comparison to Bowden in Omar Provitt. Now, what makes Provitt a better player receiver-wise, Omar was big, he was fast, and he caught everything, and he was just a nightmare. Nobody could guard him. You had to double Omar Provitt, and even doubling him, you couldn't shut him down.
Yeah, and this is just a commentary. It was sad that he didn't have the opportunity for whoever's fault, whoever's reasonings, whatever, that he didn't have the opportunity in college to showcase his talents.
Well, unfortunately, and I bring this up, you know, if you want to go to college, you at least have to be able to do a really good job in the classroom. And
granted, Ron, but there's some situations, there's some people that didn't happen for, and to say that you can't have a career in this field because after 4 years we're not going to look at you, or 3 years we're not going to look at you. You know what? There should be exceptions.
No, actually there shouldn't be, Tony. If you don't have the grades, you don't get into school. That's part of going into the college. Way back in the day when you had the Dexter Manleys.
I don't have a problem, Ron, between you. I don't have a problem. You don't have the right to go into college if you don't have the criteria met. But that doesn't mean that it should be so prohibitive that you require 3 years of college to play in the pros.
No, absolutely. That's part of the rule, and you know, unfortunately, Maurice Clarett tried to challenge it, and it ain't going to be challengeable. I mean, the NFL has that stature.
Not all rules are perfect, though, and I think we can agree on that.
I mean,
I think that there are exceptions. There are exceptions to rules.
I get that, but I'm not going to put an 18-year-old kid up against a 29 or 30-year-old man. That's not going to go well for a kid. He's going to get destroyed by a 30-year-old man.
And that's one of the problems they have with when they use college with all its, to maybe some people, onerous requirements, because we're not all created equal in some respects. With all their onerous requirements relative to baseball, who has a minor league system.
I get that. And look, I mean, there's a reason why not many 18-year-olds go from high school straight to the major leagues. You got to go through a process. You know, in basketball, yeah, there's every so often when they had the high school kids making the jump, you had a handful of high school kids that would be able to make the jump and make it successfully. Look no further than LeBron James, Kevin Garnett, Kobe Bryant. But for all three of those guys, there's thousands of kids that tried to go from high school to the pros, and it didn't work out for them. But what makes football different from those other two sports is the physicality. And, you know, the NFL has it dead set in their mind, and I agree with it 1,000,000%. I am not putting an 18-year-old kid on a football field in a dangerous game against a 30 or a 29, 30-year-old fully grown man. That 18-year-old, you're fearing for his life if he's going up against.
Ron, again, I don't disagree that there's a physical aspect of this game that there isn't in those other games. But there has to be some kind, well, there doesn't have to be anything. But it would have been nice if there's some considerations to people who don't qualify under that other criteria. And there are practice squads in the pros that you could actually slip some of these kids in and nurture them for a few years if a team was willing to take a chance. You know, some type of supplemental draft that occurred that says these kids are some criteria that they weren't able to meet the college criteria. You have a chance to draft those kids.
No, I understand where you're coming from with that. I just, I think if you open the Pandora's box, a lot of 18-year-old kids would then go through that and say, well, I mean, if you're going to pick this person who wasn't able to go to college because he didn't have the grades to go to college, but he had the NFL or had enough talent to possibly be on the radar of some NFL teams, then all 18-year-olds are going to get it in their mind, well, if this person can do it, then I should be legally bound to do it as well, and then you got a mess on your hands.
The courts may see a precedence there that would open it for everybody.
Yeah.
I don't know. One more comment on him, and then I want to make one more comment on another Warren guy who actually, made his 3 years beautifully, and great for him. Probably did have a son who played at Wyoming at the same time that Josh Allen was there.
Oh, nice. I did not know that.
The basketball.
Huh. Okay.
Yeah. A Warren kid, I think he went between, if I'm not mistaken, I think Kennedy, Harding, whatever. But I don't remember the name. It's a different last name, but it was his son. And good for him. There was definitely a pedigree there.
Oh, yeah.
As for the other kid, I wanted to note James Daniels. The kid is a beast. He spent the off season in the gym apparently, and I think he's resigned himself. He's a guard now. He's always wanted. They've always felt him to be a center, but he didn't perform great last year at center, and so they moved him back to a guard, a position he did very well on at his rookie year, and he is a mountain right now.
And he's going to help. He's going to help tremendously with the Bears. The problem is, where are the Bears going to go as far as their quarterback is concerned? I mean, are they going to drop the or pull the plug on Trubisky, which they should, because he's never lived up to the billing, and use the forever backup quarterback who happens to have a Super Bowl ring in Rosen, or not Rosen. Oh God.
Foles.
Yeah, in Nick Foles, or do they give Trubisky one more chance? I think it should be Foles.
Here's my argument, and I always want all these kids to succeed. I think it's just got to be so devastating to have been on the verge and not to make it. But as for Trubisky, I think it's an opportunity for them to say, we've got to step back. We apologize for throwing you into the fire too early. You came out of a college as an undeveloped quarterback. We tried to develop you on the fly. Take a step back. Here's this veteran who has some great stats outside of just winning a Super Bowl. Look back on his 2013 season. The kid did some amazing things.
Yeah.
And the only bad season he had was when he was down in St. Louis with that quarterback killer Jeff Fisher. You know, he destroyed Case Keenum, he destroyed Foles, he destroyed the kid who went out to L.A. and performed so well 2 years ago.
Jared Goff, yeah.
Thank you. So, well, great for James Daniels. You know, anybody knows, I'd like to hear about the rest of the kids local kids who may be trying to make it and such. But just wanted to throw that out.
Well, I look forward to seeing what he does with the Bears this year, and hopefully the Bears are going to be stepping it up, because Green Bay and Minnesota and now Detroit, that's a fun division. And you hope that Chicago steps up and turns it into a free-for-all.
Yeah. Well, the coach at Chicago was offensive coordinator or quarterback coach when he was at Kansas City. The 1 year he was in Kansas City, and they were great buddies, and they got along really well. So it's probably a relationship, hopefully, for Foles and the Bears. I'd like to see them do well, as the relationship he had with Frank Wright when he was in Philadelphia. Both Frank Wright and the head coach in Philadelphia, who was a perennial backup.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Peterson.
Yeah. Well, Doug Peterson. He's going to have an interesting year too. And the East. I mean, the Giants are rebuilding. The Washington Football Club. I can't say Redskins. Not allowed. By the way, I'm not allowed to say Redskins, so you won't hear me say Redskins anymore, because the Washington Redskins don't exist. So we can't say the Washington Redskins anymore. It's now the Washington Football Club. So the Washington Football Club sucks, and the Giants are rebuilding, and the Cowboys underachieve, so it's Philadelphia all the time.
Yeah. Well, if you slip and say it, I'm not going to think it was a malicious thing. It's still, for some reason, if I'm referring to Miami, it's the Redskins still for some reason. So, there's no malice in my heart.
No, not at all. I'm just waiting for the day where West Branch and Southern are going to have to change their names, which it's coming.
I'm sorry. These things string together. One more point. Joey Browner. I wanted to throw him out for a reason.
Oh my gosh!
I don't know if people knew. Joey Browner and his brothers. They were both half black and half Indian on both their mother's side and their father's side. So they're half Indian. I don't know if you knew that.
Indian as in the country or Native American?
No, American Indian.
Okay, Native American. I did not know that. I did not know that.
From their mother's side, she was from Georgia, and she was Seminole, I think.
Okay.
And then the father was from up here, and he was from his family was, so American Indian on both sides of the family. I firmly believe, and I don't want to get too deep in the numbers right now, but I think he got a bad rap. I think he should have got more consideration for more honors. I mean, he was in the all 80s team, all 90s team, I guess it would have been. He was a very, very good defensive back. I think he was kind of blackballed by the NFL because he was one of the first people who spoke out against the Redskins name. And I don't know if you remember that.
No, I seem to recall that he was pretty vocal about it, and now looking with your filling in the information that he is part Seminole. Now I can see why he was talking of that. You know, I will say this: the Browner family, a great football family up in Warren. My only beef was, how the hell do you have some of those kids go to Notre Dame, and some of those kids looking at their older brothers and the success at Notre Dame, and you have the audacity to go to the University of Spoiled Children? How dare you?
Well, there was the three younger brothers, and the Joey actually was qualified for the state championship of track, the high hurdles as a freshman. But after that, Ross moved them down. Their father passed away. Ross moved the whole family, mother and whole family, down to Georgia, and everything kind of changed there. Did you know Joey Browner played on the same high school basketball team as Wilkins?
Wow.
Yeah, down in Georgia.
Oh my.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
the human highlight film and Joey Browner. Boy, that would have been a treat to watch on the basketball floor every Tuesday and Friday night.
Yeah, the prolific pro football family. Did you know that the lineman a longtime lineman for the Steelers, I think his name was it Starks, the lineman?
Yes.
That was Ross Browner's son.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, that was Ross Browner's son.
Okay.
They had a crazy. Now, one of the sons who what was it? Brandon Browner. He's a Browner also, to the same family. People didn't associate the two when he was out in Seattle, but he was part of that family too. And unbelievable amount of Browners who went into the NFL. Potentially the greatest Browner, and Warren people can speak to that, was the youngest Browner. And his name's slipping me right now, and I feel horrible about it, because he was actually younger than me. And he was the youngest Browner, and he was just one of those kids who's just struggled with some things.
Yeah.
And God bless his soul, he passed away.
Well, you listen.
He probably had the greatest potential of any of the Browners. He was enormous. He was like 6'6", and because Ross wasn't that. Ross was maybe 6'2", 6'3".
Yeah.
Freak athlete. Joey was about that size, but he was the biggest of all the brothers.
Well, I remember Ross vividly, and then he went to Notre Dame and did an unbelievably great job at Notre Dame, and
he's in the College Hall of Fame, maybe one of the greatest college defensive linemen ever.
Oh yeah, so. Yeah, and more importantly, a lot of recruiting from Northeastern Ohio when after Ross went to Notre Dame. Notre Dame realized, hey, we should probably go into Buckeye country and see if we can fetch some more of these kids.
Yeah, well, they pulled a lot out of Chicago before that, but the first three brothers who played went to Notre Dame, and the last three who played went to USC.
I just for the life of me, I don't
cringe,
understand that. Just don't understand that. I mean, how can you sit back and knowing your three older brothers went to Notre Dame, and then you're going to turn around and say, well, I don't want to follow by tradition. I'm going to go to the school that's hated by Notre Dame the most. I'm going to go to the University of Spoiled Children, a.k.a. USC, and I'm going to make a name for myself over there and be a hated enemy of Notre Dame. I can appreciate I can appreciate it, but as a Notre Dame fan, I'm still kind of bitter about it.
To the Notre Dame thing too, I want to throw this out there because there's probably sometimes a misconception. Their mother, I think, was a good Catholic woman, and I think she actually worked for St. Mary's downtown Warren.
Nice.
It's not like whatever. They went to Notre Dame with the faith of Notre Dame.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, look, you not only do you get to play for back then a great football team and a great football program, it's also a Catholic university, and if you're a member of the Catholic Church and you're a great football player, Notre Dame, Boston College is another place that is a perfect scenario. So and back in the 70s, if you were great, you would go to Notre Dame. Now, unfortunately, one of the reasons why Notre Dame has fallen behind the rest of the programs, and much like the Catholic Church is fallen behind the times, you do not have nearly as many kids that are going to Catholic high schools that have visions of wanting to go and continue a Catholic education by going to Notre Dame. A lot of them just as soon say, you know what, I don't need to continue on this journey. I can go somewhere else and still be Catholic. So it's back then. It was. It wasn't really pounded into anyone's brain, but Notre Dame was
in the Catholic elementary school system. Your dream was Notre Dame.
Absolutely, yeah, absolutely, and I think winning had a lot to do with that. But Notre Dame, and it still is. It's revered in the Catholic faith. Notre Dame is a revered place. It's Boston College is just as Catholic as Notre Dame is, but they don't have the football championship pedigree that Notre Dame has. But
they had a pretty good run there, the Flutie years.
Oh yeah, no doubt, no question.
Yeah, Villanova, that's where Howie Long played.
Yeah,
I mean, that's not a bad program.
And Villanova is a fantastic place. Yeah, Villanova is a fantastic place. But no, Notre Dame was revered and still is, and to a lot of folks that were born into the faith and went to elementary school and then into high school. Yeah, your dream for a lot of those kids is to go to the University of Notre Dame, whether it be an athletic scholarship or go to the college. And Tony, I'll be honest, and this isn't being biased; it's the truth. A Notre Dame education is a very powerful thing to have.
Well, for a lot of reasons. For the intrinsic value of the education itself, but a lot of college educations, it's most of these prestigious schools, it's about the connections you make there.
Absolutely.
And it's the connections and people who can enable you going forward. And there's sociological arguments about that.
Sure.
Who gets why certain things are perpetuated in our society. Because if I went there and I could send my kid there, and other people can't, and there's great connections there can enable them in life. Well, maybe that's not totally fair, but
no, I mean I understand where you're coming from, but there is there is such a thing on the college level as a legacy, and that's part of it.
Sure.
If you graduated from
look at Flounder, right?
Yeah, exactly. I mean that's the only reason why he got into that fraternity in the first place. And then he winds up puking on Dean Wormer. What the hell kind of a clown is this?
I'll see you later.
All right, I'll see you. Fat, drunk, and stupid is no way to go through life, son. On that happy note, 330-886-0813. The MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning hotline is open. On the other side, we will hear from the head football coach of the LeBray Vikings, John Armini. Friend of the show, he's coming up in a bit. Stick around, more to come.
Hello, I'm Greg Burbick with G. Burbick Farms. For the last 100 years, my family has farmed in Columbiana and Mahoning counties. I began raising cattle in 1996 with the goal of providing a better product for you and your family on the dinner table. Our grass-fed and grain-supplemented Black Angus beef are raised with no hormones, steroids, or antibiotics. We're known for our hometown-friendly service and incredible tasting products. We're locally owned and have customers across the tri-state area. Our products go from our farm to your family. Stop by our farm on New Buffalo Road or visit us on the web at gburbickfarms.com. Don't forget to like us on Facebook. G. Burbick Farms, it just tastes better.
them how cute we are.
Myers Family Insurance continues to be the area's resource for all your Medicare and retirement needs. Call today, 330-286-3044.
Welcome into a Thursday edition of Running Points on ysnlive.com, the MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning Hotline. It'll be open in a little bit, but right now we go to the aforementioned MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning Hotline, where we find the head football coach of the LeBray Vikings, Mr. John Armini. Coach Armini, how are you today, sir?
Not too bad. How about yourself?
I can't complain. I mean, if you would have heard or spoken to me a month before the start of the high school football season, I would have told you there's no way we're playing high school football. Governor DeWine will shut this thing down, and everyone's going to be mad, but that's what's going to happen. Did you get a sense that we weren't going to have a football season, or did you believe all along that somehow, some way, we'd have high school football?
You know, there were lots of times where I wasn't real sure, and if you think about it in context, that Ohio State, you know, one of the premier programs in the entire country, isn't planning on playing football, but we are in the same state. It's, you know, no small miracle that we're able to have a season right now.
Yeah, no question. And what was it like? I mean, you've got about 40 kids out for football. Tell me how it went about, where you and your coaching staff were able to keep the kids' interest and keep the kids updated and keep them focused as we were just hanging on the governor's every word for about a month or so there.
You know, it was pretty difficult. The kids have been pretty good, though. You know, they've been anxious to get going, you know, and they've been working really hard. You know, I think that the hardest part of it has been all the added work for coaches and athletic directors around the valley, you know, with trying to, you know, use all these protocols and still put out a product, you know. So it's been pretty difficult with all the extra work that we've created for ourselves with, you know, having to have the kids be so far apart. You know, in football, you know, they get together a lot, especially when there's big plays or, you know, when they get excited. You know, so every time a big play happens, you got coaches over there trying to, you know, spread them, you know, apart. When kids come off and on the sideline, they got to wear masks. All this stuff with fans and being able to, you know, socially distance in the stands and wear masks and having limited capacity. You know, so it's created a lot of work for everybody. You know, but like I said, we're just really happy to be able to play some football so the kids, you know, have some type of season.
42-21 in Campbell last week. You get a victory over the Red Devils. And talk a little bit about the performance in week number 1 from your Viking squad.
You know, I thought it was a pretty good game given the circumstances of having to come back on Saturday morning. You know, our guys were kind of locked in and ready to go Friday night, and to have to burst their bubble and get back on a bus after playing for just a few minutes, I wasn't sure that they'd have the mental toughness, you know, because we have a pretty young squad. But to get back on the bus and go Saturday morning on a business trip and take care of Camel, which is a very good, young, and very physical football team, you know, I was pretty proud.
Let's talk a little bit about your quarterback. The last name Stevens, for the last 5 or so years, it's been synonymous with outstanding football. Older brother Tyler, he's playing football at the University of Buffalo. Well, I mean, he's not this year because the MAC is shut down, but Tyler Stevens is at the University of Buffalo. Aiden Stevens is your junior quarterback. Tell us a little bit about young Aiden Stevens.
Well, you know, I wish they would have had more kids. You know, I tell Tony and his wife, Christine, they should have had more kids. You know, we might have a better chance of keeping this going a little longer if they had more kids. But, you know, Aiden's a special talent, you know, a dual-threat kid at quarterback, you know, human highlight reel. So we expect big things from him. And the bigger the game, the more excited he gets. You know, so that's nice to see that he's got that maturity to know to show up in big moments. You know, so he had a big game, and, you know, hopefully he's got a few more in the tank here for us as we go into the league play.
Well, Coach, anytime that you can hand the ball off to a really good running back in Devin Carter, it's an A-plus feather in the cap of the quarterback if he has a great running back. And Carter is all that in a bag of chips, over 1,500 yards with 16 touchdowns, 8.7 yards per carry as a sophomore. You get this kid for 2 more years, Coach.
Yeah, and you know what? I said this earlier in the spring, too. He had no offseason the year before, so he did 1,500 yards, on an ACL surgery, wasn't cleared until June. So he's only scratching the surface of what he's capable of. And every week it seems like he gets a little bigger, a little faster, a little stronger, and a little bit more motivated to do special things. We have a good group of guys there, most of them juniors, so they'll be around for a while. They help take pressure off each other. Like you were saying, the pressure's not all on Aiden. He's got other guys he can lean on. Devin is one. Trayvon Drake is another. We got some other special receivers that we think are going to, show up big time, and Ashton Dunbar and J.J. Jethro. So we got a kind of a good committee here. They're still young. They're still, learning the nuances of our scheme and figuring out how to compete on Friday nights. But we're pretty excited.
Coach, if Stevens is synonymous to great football, so is Drake. You mentioned Trayvon Drake. His older brother, Tyreek Drake, now a safety at Ohio University. Again, not playing this year because the MAC is shut down, but Tyreek was able to go to OU. Trayvon Drake, again, a junior, part of that sensational junior class that you guys have. There are plenty of names, last names of the present and immediate past that are still there at LeBray that makes this Vikings team fun to watch.
Yeah, and it's a special thing for our program, and these younger guys want to top what their older brothers did, and if they're able to accomplish that, that'd be just fine by us. So it creates a lot of competition. They want to have bragging rights at the family table. And those older guys did some special things here. So these younger guys have their work cut out for them, but they're highly motivated.
Speaking of bragging rights, it seems the bragging rights of the MVAC greats here might be happening on Friday night. You guys open up your home portion of the season against the team that wound up winning the division last year in Brookfield. And I know last year's loss to Brookfield still stings. Warriors beating you guys 49-28. As you prepare for Brookfield this week, what is the pulse been like at LeBray? What are the practices been like as you're now in Brookfield week?
We tried to make them a little extra physical, a little harder than maybe what our average week looks like. And I've told the kids all week long, this is the litmus test. Brookfield is the standard in this league, and they have been during my tenure here at LeBray. When we're good, we take care of business against them, and when we need to do work, they show us what we need to work on. And I can't say enough about what Coach Clark does over there. Those kids, on Saturday morning, into Monday the next week, that you were in a battle Friday night. And that's what we want our kids to emulate. That's what we preach to our kids. We want to be that standard. We want to be that tough game that opponents don't want to play because they know they're going to be beat up over the weekend. So we tried to make it a little tougher to simulate what they're going to see Friday night.
It's turning into a very physical conference, the grades here. I mean, you guys played against a very young and physical team in Camel. More of the same Friday night when you played Brookfield. I know when you guys head down to Crestview and their brand new turf surface, Crestview is very physical, and Champion, who knocked off Crestview, will be waiting in the wings on September the 18th. Very quietly, the Mahoning Valley Athletic Conference grade tier has stepped up and become a really good conference early on this year.
I think that in my 8 years here, without a doubt, this is the best that this conference has looked top to bottom. It's the most talented it's been. It's as deep as it's been. And really there are lots of toss-up football games, pending on the week, pending on the health, pending on the circumstances. And I think a lot of what you just mentioned, too, those are a lot of tough head football coaches. Randy Clark is a tough guy. Paul Cusick is a tough guy. Tim McGlynn's a tough guy. I think that what you're starting to see is teams are emulating their head coaches' personalities, which I think is a good thing. I think that that's going to create a physical, good football.
John, before we let you go, I noticed the October the 2nd, it was not filled when the Tribune Chronicles football preview came out. Do you guys have an opponent for the 6th week?
We do. We picked up Conneaut right before the season started, so we will travel to Conneaut on October 2nd.
That's a good non-conference game, and again, you'll have 5 games in the gray tier to prepare yourself, and Conneaut's a non-conference game. LeBray, a D6 program this year. This is a good schedule to get you ready for a postseason, and knock on wood, hopefully we have a postseason this year, because everyone going into the postseason, this could be a lot of fun.
You know, it's a little bit different of a mentality knowing that you're already in. Normally, you obsess over getting the Harbin points, you know, with the matchups and winning the right games. And I think now it's about making sure that you mature a little bit differently, you know, that you're peaking at that time and not so much worrying about the things in between. So it's a little bit different. You know, I think that's probably what baseball and basketball coaches do. You know, I can't say that I'm a fan that everybody's getting in. You know, I like the old school mentality. I wasn't a fan when they went from 4 to 8 teams, you know, in the regions. And now it's 8 to 12. And this year, everybody gets in. But, you know, again, under the circumstances, just pretty happy that we're playing football.
Is your coaching changing, knowing that your team is going to go into the playoffs, whether you're 6-0 or 1-5, because you did win your first game? Does your coaching change from here on out because of that?
I think 100% it does. You know, one of the things that we've always done is really push our kids to be tough and to work through injuries. I think one of the things that we're already doing this year is trying to be a little bit more patient with those things. You know, not necessarily making kids go when, you know, they're kind of on the tweener of being able to play or not play, you know, because knowing that you don't have to win to get in, you know, the pressure's kind of off in that sense. So I think that you'll see a lot of schools be a little bit more, you know, liberal with keeping guys on the sidelines, you know, not necessarily forcing them back out there.
Hey, Coach, always a pleasure. Look forward to seeing you guys come down to Crestview next Friday. I'll be calling that game. And have fun against Brookfield. That's a great test for you guys on Friday nights. Best of luck in that game.
All right, thanks, Ron.
You got it. John Armini, the head football coach of the LeBray Vikings. We'll put a bow on this one, this Thursday edition of Running Points, and get you set up for the show coming up after ours, the Power Hour. Power Hour is coming up in a bit. Stick around. We'll get you one final segment and then go to Power Hour.
It's storm season.
I think we're under the gun for some heavy storms over the next couple of hours.
And Storm Tracker 21 is ready.
This is probably the one we're keeping a closer eye on.
On air.
And locally, we're going to have a lot of eyes on our area.
Online.
All right, let's talk high-risk futurecast and the timing of this weather.
On social media and on our app.
Rain will come and go tomorrow. There'll be some dry intervals.
Stay ready with Storm Tracker 21.
The severe weather threat now through around sunset this evening.
Hi, I'm Colin Chupa. And I'm Kelsey Clem from K-Squared Marketing. Our boutique marketing firm specializes in media planning and buying, public relations, event marketing strategies, and strategic sponsorships. We can integrate our services with your existing game plan, or we can be your entire marketing team. Your goals, our game plan. Let's win together. Call K-Squared Marketing at 330-623-2730 or visit ksquared.marketing to learn more.
Hi everyone, this is DJ Yoakley with Your Sports Network. We appreciate your support of YSN and welcome you to the YSN family. Our broadcast streams are brought to you live at no cost to you by sponsors that are local to this community. Without the vision and generosity of our sponsors and partners, we would not be able to bring this game to you today. So please support the great businesses and leaders that are making this game possible. And if you're a business in need of great advertising and sponsorship opportunities, feel free to head over to our site for more information on the right fit for you. We are local, we are loyal, and we are live. We are YSN.
Ah, the details. Baird Brothers Fine Hardwoods is one fine ride. Perfect cornering, superb handling, sporty and stylish, power to spare, plus awesome mileage. Yeah, jaw-droppingly beautiful lines and well appointed with luxurious trim. Put more oomph in your life and start beholding the molding. Find your home's fine hardwood at BairdBrothers.com.
Hi, this is Tommy Clem, owner of WRS Insurance Solutions, reminding you that it is open enrollment for Medicare.
Now through December 7th, those who qualify can visit our local independent agency by calling us at 330-953-3722 or visiting us at wrsinsurancesolutions.com to learn more.
Good luck to all the student athletes in the Valley.
Attention all football fans. If you can't see your team play, come and dine with us and watch it live at Boardman, Canfield, or Cortland. Or staying at home, we'll deliver right to your door. That's Coca's Pizza. We serve it hot.
2020 will be a season like we've never seen before, but 21 Sports and YSN will be there for every key moment. The plays, the players, and the stories that will headline this season. Delivered by 21 Sports and YSN.
Planning a project around your home or rental property? Trust the electrical service to the local experts with 62 years of serving the Mahoning Valley. Joe Dickey Electric is your local go-to source for responsive, reliable residential electrical work. From everyday maintenance and repairs to new installations, electrical upgrades, and safety inspections, no job is too big or too small. Call Joe Dickey Electric today, 800-549-3976, or visit DickeyElectric.com. That's DickeyElectric.com.
Myers Family Insurance knows the importance of a great team.
Our team continues to grow to help you with your Medicare and retirement needs.
The annual election period is here, so it's all hands on deck to make sure your plans still meet your needs for 2020.
Call us today.
You may find yourself in some difficulty this winter. Don't get whacked by high heating bills. Call Michael at MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning. Michael is a trusted friend who will be able to help you with many things, like getting a 95% high-efficiency furnace this winter from Ruth. Michael relies on Ruth, so should you. Call MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning for a free estimate, 330-259-0486, and take care of your heating and air situation.
Take care of that heating and air situation. Give him an offer you can't refuse. And that'll do it for the Thursday edition of Running Point. Stick around. The Power Hour is coming up momentarily. DJ and the boys will take your phone calls and have all kinds of fun from 3 to 4 today. Power Hour on ysnlive.com. We'll do it again tomorrow, noon to 3. We'll hopefully have a couple more coaches on and get you set for week 2 of the high school football season. Make it a great rest of the day, everyone. Power Hour